Perfect. It sounds really good.
Greg? I can't hear him.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Greg.
How you doing?
Hey, buddy. I got the. Hey, before we're not on the air yet, but before we get on, just as a dude, I was, obviously, I'm not totally that generation that like you, like Biggie and Tupac there, but I'll explain why I have a weird connection to it. But I love these celebrity murders. Like when I first got out to L.A., I drove from OJ's house to Nicole's. It took me 4 minutes in midday traffic. I was, he had a 45-minute window supposedly. I like doing investigations. Chappaquiddick. So I'm fucking obsessed with this stuff. And you easily are the most like articulate. I mean, really good job on that documentary, man. I mean, you hosted the whole thing, So that's why I wanted to call you. So I appreciate it, man.
Oh man, my pleasure. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, all right. So that's the thing. So you're like a rock star to me now. I can't wait to talk to you. So we'll give us 30 seconds. You're gonna be talking to me and my friend Ryan, who's a really great comic, and Flippin is the board guy, and Danny produces it, and that's it. We'll get into this right now. Thanks.
Right on.
All right. Let me know, Flip. Hey, Artie Quitter. I'm never adequately excited enough when I do that. Hey, there's no band, nothing. But we have a band. We'll get into it later. We'll probably do this anyway. We're going to cut this into the middle of the show. We have that capacity. It makes more sense.
Editor's note, Dan decided that was actually not the best way to do it.
But my guest today is a guy that, I first became aware of about 10 days ago. I'm a documentary freak, as a lot of people know who listen to the show. It's not all fun and games here, okay? We try to get serious every once in a while. And, this Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur thing has been going on forever. And who killed who, blah, blah, blah. And look, whether you're into rap or anything like that, you got to admit, it's a fascinating situation. Especially that it's these guys making so much fucking money from the world of music. And, Frank Sinatra had feuds with people, but there may be a slap at Ciro's or something like that. They could be at a gig at the Paramount and maybe somebody punches somebody in the face. Automatic weapons came into play with rap. And these guys, are killing each other, literally. And two of the biggest guys in the game, at the height of their power, I think they're only 25 years old. Basically, each other's camps kill each other. Kill them within 8 months. And since then, I've been fascinated with it. And to me, this was solved a long time ago with a documentary. I'll get into this with our guest. A documentary an Australian guy did. His name escapes me, but he claimed that bad LA cops hired by Suge Knight killed both people because Tupac Shakur was going to leave Suge Knight, and it meant a lot of money. And of course, the feud with Biggie Smalls was the motive there. And to me, it made sense. It was case closed that, this happened and it'll never get solved. And then here comes this documentary called Murder Rap, basically the real story about what happened that just came out. And I sat down real cynical. I'm like, okay, it's going to be another half-assed story. It's clearly bad cops. And, man, I was blown away by this whole thing. I got into it in about 2 seconds. And you get taken through this story brilliantly by our guest today, a guy named Greg Kading, who was a L.A. cop, became a homicide detective. And it's amazing what spurred this on. A lawsuit, money. So that's the tease. I'll give you that, and we'll get into this. So my guest is Greg Kading, who, in my opinion, him and his team solved the Biggie and Tupac murders, but it'll never see justice, and you'll see why when you see the documentary. So Greg Kading is my guest. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, my pleasure, Artie. Thanks for having me, bud.
Okay, so again, for the fans out there, the great Ryan Reese is here.
Hey,
Ryan has, a big stake. And first of all, Ryan's a great comic, a co-host, but Ryan is younger than me. How old are you, Ryan?
I'm 36.
Okay, you're 36. I'm 48. I got 12 years on you. Rap music was just becoming big as I got into like the 10th grade. You had, Jam, LL Cool J,
Run DMC,
Def Jam, of course, Rapper's Delight, all that shit. and the Beastie Boys, blah, blah, blah. So, me and my white friends were into Zeppelin and shit, and the Rolling Stones looked at it. I don't know, Greg, maybe you have a similar. How old are you, Greg?
I'm 52, and Zeppelin was right up my alley.
Right. I mean, me too. So we're basically, it's a couple of years, but we're the same way. And music-wise, I'm sure. And, to me, rap music was comedy. That first Beastie Boys record, License to Ill, me and my buddies, we thought that was a comedy record. And, we thought they were goofing on the whole thing. And in some ways they were. One of the biggest honors in my career was Rick Rubin, who started Def Jam with Simmons.
In his NYU dorm room.
Basically, again, fascinating story. In his NYU dorm room, Rick Rubin reached out to me about 5 years. I don't know what you know about me, Greg, but I was on the Howard Stern show, right? Basically that's what I'm most known for. But I got summoned by Rick Rubin, who started Def Jam, because on the radio I said I'm not a big rap guy. I love some rap, but you got to admit, that's a really brilliant guy, Rick Rubin. And he went on to produce Metallica and all this stuff. And Rick Rubin saw my first stand-up special, and he asked me to come in and talk to him. So I'm sitting in his backyard in Malibu after I had a gig in Vegas, and I got a chance to talk to Rick Rubin about rap, and I told him we thought it was a comedy record. He goes, "You're 100% right. That's what we wanted to do with it." That's how it started, and it turned into Grammys. And so rap was kind of like, I was sort of into it, not into it. But then 12 years later, a guy like you, Ryan, it was your Rolling Stones, right? I mean, Biggie and Tupac were how big to you?
Huge.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just all Biggie made it accessible to white kids on Long Island.
You think so?
Yeah,
Biggie?
absolutely.
With those lyrics?
Well, yeah, because they were.
Nigga, you ain't got to explain shit. I've been
more pop. It's more pop. It was.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? To you, because that's your generation.
Sure. Tupac was more gangster. Biggie was more like.
Wait, Biggie was not as gangster as Tupac?
No.
Really?
No.
Greg, is this a surprise to you?
Yeah, well, there was an evolution with Tupac,
Right. Tupac was like an art student. Biggie was selling crack to pregnant women,
Yeah, but
When
he
he
was
got
happy
out-
about
when
it. He was jolly.
It's true.
He wasn't. You know what I mean?
He was like Santa, the rapper Santa. Greg, because that comes into play with this whole thing. I mean, what you said Tupac? What was his evolution to you in music?
Well, when he came out to the West Coast and he got under the wing of Suge Knight and hooked up with Death Row Records, that ultimately would lead to his demise.
Right.
That was that decision or that enticement actually. Because he needed to get out of jail.
Right, that's the interesting thing about it. Right, it was he. Another fascinating thing you've learned in other documentaries, but you really get into detail. Suge Knight had him because Tupac Shakur was, really rotting away in jail on a rape charge, and this is the first time I ever heard this. There were rumors that Tupac got raped in jail, right?
Well, that's the rumor.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
So if that's happening, he's like, who's getting me out here, And Suge Knight sees a great opportunity and says, look, I got the cash. I'll bail you out because you didn't have the money to get bailed out and go to trial, and we'll get you out. Basically, you got him out to a wait trial. He was a free man, right?
Yeah, after what ended up happening is at the time when he was in jail, he was assigned to Interscope Records.
Right.
And out here on the West Coast, Death Row was, getting into an alliance with Interscope.
And that's Jimmy Iovine. That's Jimmy Iovine, right? And all those guys?
Yeah, exactly. A Brooklyn guy.
Right.
And
tough motherfucker.
They ended up saying, hey, here's a perfect fit. We got Tupac under our, let's give him to Suge Knight. He's probably the guy who can best
right.
take care of a guy of his nature. So that was really, for Tupac, a decision that would lead to his death.
Yeah, which so right, exactly. First of all, what happens is, again, this is fascinating to me. If you're gonna, the talent within this rap world, if you're gonna buy into the fact that these were the Rolling Stones, a guy like Tupac and Biggie, this was Lennon and McCartney writing level to a new generation, but it was hip hop, Richards and Jagger, they were right. Tupac gets out of jail. The prolific amount of stuff, the George Carlin type output of material to me as a comedian. He was the most prolific rapper on the planet at that point. He gets out, he's writing like 4 hit rap songs a day or something, right? He just is putting out hit after hit for Suge Knight. And you could see how talented the guy was.
Yeah, they say that he had just an incessant work ethic. That, that there was no sleep. It was just work and produce music.
I think I know why you didn't sleep. Trevor. Had something to do with that rape in jail.
Yeah, that's true too. There's a motivator.
Again, on behalf of Tupac fans, it's the rumor.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's right. You don't accuse rappers of gay stuff. No way, that don't happen. One of the people on the Stern Show, Shaggy Two Dope, of course, an insane clown posse. They made a gay joke about him, and he was going to his car to get a fungo bat, and we had to stop him. He was going to hit somebody in the face live on the air. But yeah, you're right. It's sort of like that Italian black thing. Don't go gay. But I don't know if you know this about me, Greg. I did time. I was in LA County Jail for possession of coke, and I showered in between the blood and a Crip that were mad at each other. And I'll tell you what, I was very happy to be fat and ugly. Tupac was a looker.
I did my research on you, man. And
you did?
Found out we've got a lot in common. Actually.
Oh, really? Well, we should talk afterwards if you hold him.
Well,
no, I really got to admire you in this because you could tell you're good at what you do too, and you took it seriously. But so Tupac, whether he was raped or not, of course, that's probably not true. He needs to get out, and Suge Knight sees an opportunity. So now Tupac is under Suge Knight's wing, and he's rivals with Puff Daddy and Biggie Smalls. Now, before he got arrested, he was working with Puff Daddy, right?
Yeah, they were friends. They all back in New York. Everybody kind of was, looking after each other, and Tupac used to help Biggie out a lot. And there was no real friction until a shooting took place at the Quad Studios, and Tupac believed that Puffy Combs and potentially Biggie had set him up, and that led to some division.
Right.
That just exacerbated after that.
Yeah, there's all these rumors that Biggie Smalls, a big guy, got some fame, and Tupac, when he got really mad at him, claimed that he used to pay hot chicks to fuck Biggie Smalls, and took him under his wing, showed him how to be sort of L.A. cool. A very, very odd situation goes on because now there's power there. Biggie Smalls is sort of looking up to Tupac. It seemed like Biggie Smalls really admired Tupac Shakur.
How could you not? I mean, he was so talented.
Right.
He understood. He understood how to put his lyrics together and how to put a rap song together like nobody. I mean, he's just incredibly talented. And at the time, he's also an up-and-coming movie star,
Right. He's in Janet Jackson movies. There's one scene in this I never saw before where Tupac Shakur's yelling at everybody in the studio about how to, make a song. He's like, okay, we'll get the cut. We'll put that down. If you see a guy who's got some sort of hook, you put down the hook, you lay down the track, come back, lay down the hook again, put the track down. I mean, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not a rap fan, but he talks a mile a minute about how to make a rap song. And he's writing hit after hit. So money's involved. And then what basically, walk us through what really takes it to another level. There's a killing in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, exactly. Once that actually happened before Tupac was out of prison. So this is where the rivalry between Suge Knight and Puffy Combs really starts to, unspring. There was a kind of a war on words, and Suge Knight's bodyguard was in Atlanta at a nightclub with him, and Puffy's bodyguard shot and killed Suge's bodyguard, and so now there's blood on the ground.
Wait, somebody shot and killed some people are getting killed. Wait, you glossed over that. Who got killed?
Yeah. So Suge's out there with his entourage, including a close friend of his and his bodyguard, a guy named Jake Robles.
Yeah.
And they get into a squabble inside of the club, and everybody's asked to leave the club, and out in the parking lot, Puffy Combs' bodyguard, a guy named Wolf Anthony Jones, and a couple other guys shoot and kill Jake Robles as he's getting in the back of a limousine.
Jesus.
So now it's blood on the ground, and reportedly Suge says to Puffy, "Listen, you've taken something dear from me. I'm going to take something dear from you." And then it spirals out of control from that point.
Okay, now here's where this documentary gets fucking great, because in every other you haven't seen this, right?
No,
okay.
But I mean, like we had all heard the stories,
right,
coming up, and we were under the assumption that Biggie did shoot Tupac at the studio because he had the song "Who Shot You."
Okay,
and that was kind of like
we talked about it,
right? But that was because supposedly Tupac slept with Mary J. And that was Biggie's
Mary
wife.
J. Blige?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the other one. That's not Mary J. Blige. It's what's her face? Faith Evans.
whoever he was married.
Right,
to.
right. He made. Yeah, right. He talks about in the song, "I fucked your wife." Right.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
subtle.
Yeah. Lyrical genius.
But okay, now here's where so tell me if you knew this, Ryan, as a rap fan, because I never heard this before. And
Hip-hop.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And Bruce Jenner's a chick, right? I'm trying to get into your generation. Okay, in every documentary and every story you hear, Puff Daddy is always completely like the guy who's peace. He's trying to make peace. Like even on that the clip of the the Essence Awards, wherever the fuck in New York City, where Snoop Dogg gets mad at the East Coast and Puff Daddy's like the peacemaker. Let's all get along, peace, blah blah blah. And in every documentary, he's that guy that did nothing wrong. It escalated, blah blah blah. He didn't want anybody to get killed. That's all you ever hear about Puff Daddy, and he's a powerful guy, and you buy that. I sort of bought it. This is the only time, which makes this documentary different, where that's completely not the case in this documentary. Supposedly now, Puff Daddy is really fucking scared of Suge Knight. Like after that Atlanta killing, he really thinks, obviously for good reasons, he's the real deal. And he thinks he's going to get killed because Suge Knight has these, relationships with gang members in L.A., the Bloods and all that stuff. So Puff Daddy is friends with a couple of Crips. And one Crip in particular, a guy by the name of Keefy D. And I'll tell you what, Greg, you have to say the name Keefy D 4,000 times in this documentary. And as a very, very, you seem like a smart guy. It's so funny when you say Keefy D. Was it embarrassing to say Keefy D that much?
I don't know, man. I think I just grew used to it. There were so many, gang monikers that we had to deal with, the Zips and the Keefy Ds and the little, it was just endless. I can't see how anybody else can actually wrap their head around it.
My favorite was Little Caesar. You had to keep saying that about 4,000 times. But you buy it. You did a good job. So Puff Daddy at Greenblatt's Delicatessen, which I know well because it's right next to the Laugh Factory.
Right.
Puff Daddy meets a Crip that he's friends with, and what happens?
Yeah, so he meets up with Keefy D, and there had already been some discussions about needing to take care of the issue that Puffy has, and that is Suge Knight. Suge Knight's hunting him down, and Suge Knight makes no secret of it. He's grabbing people at parties and beating the shit out of them, saying that he needs to know where Puffy's home at.
Beat the shit.
Home is. Literally just terrorizing people, trying to figure out where Puffy Combs' L.A. house is. Well,
wow.
Obviously, I'm aware of of these activities, and he's got a target on his back. If he wants to come to L.A. and feel safe, he's got to take care of this problem.
He's in L.A. quite a bit because of business, and this is another thing that is pretty amazing about the story. The night Tupac gets killed, he attacks a Crip by the name of they called him Lane, but his name was Orlando. What's his last?
Orlando Anderson.
Orlando Anderson. Yeah, okay. He's a big time Crip. Keefy D is his uncle, and Keefy D's a big deal. He's like a high level Crip, right?
Yeah, he's a guy we'd call a shot caller within his crew out here. He's the guy with all the dope and the money, and he's the older guy, so they all look up to him, and he kind of directs traffic. So
a couple of months before the Mike Tyson fight, when this happens, Orlando Anderson dissed one of Suge Knight's friends and stole a necklace that was important. Suge Knight gave out these necklaces to people who worked with him. And this guy, Orlando Anderson, beat up one of Suge Knight's guys, took the necklace. So now Suge Knight wants to get this guy. They're all in Las Vegas for the fights. The night Tupac gets killed, September of '96. And someone tells Tupac and Suge Knight that guy, Orlando Anderson, is in the lobby of the MGM Grand. And in typical subtle fashion, they go over on camera, beat the fuck out of Orlando Anderson. You see Tupac going at him. Suge Knight kicks him twice. He kicks him twice in the shoulder. Doesn't even get to kick him. He's on parole, and because of that, he ends up doing 9 years in jail because he violated parole. Just 2 kicks on camera. And like you say, in the ultimate of bad timing, they beat up the guy whose uncle is hired to kill Tupac Shakur. And of course, it's unknown to Tupac and all these guys. So tell us how a couple of months earlier did that target get on his back? How did this guy get the contract to kill him?
Well, so essentially, the real problem was Suge Knight. That's the problem Puffy was having. But, Tupac interjected himself in that conflict by being involved in some of these incidents where they're beating up people to try to find out where Puffy lives. Of course, he's got this song where he's, claiming to have fucked Biggie's wife. And he's threatening everybody in Bad Boy Records that he's going to kill him. So he puts himself on that hit list with Suge. And so when Puffy's trying to figure out how he's going to come out to L.A. and survive, he solicits this caller for the Crips and says, hey, I need you to take care of these guys. I'll give you whatever you need. And that's when the agreement's made. Now fast forward to Las Vegas, when that same Crips nephew is beaten down by these blood gang members,
right,
Knight himself. And that stimulates everything. That throws the fuel on the fire, and they immediately plan a retaliation, and they go hunting down Suge and Tupac.
Wow. So, I mean, okay, this is amazing, too. Okay. Here's how Puff Daddy knows these Crips, Keefy D. Puff Daddy is friends with a high-level drug dealer from New York named Zip. And Zip knows. Okay. First of all, this documentary is amazing. You got to see it because it's all being told in a real serious way by Greg. He's a very let's call a spade a spade. You're an articulate white guy, and you don't have to say it, Greg. And it's the other people talking are not so articulate, we'll say people of color, including a former bodyguard of Suge Knight's. That one guy who, I swear to God, he spoke for about 4 hours in the documentary. I understood 2 minutes of it. So you have to keep explaining what just was said. It's almost like you were the interpreter. But this guy Zip is the guy who introduces, he introduces P. Diddy to these gangsters in L.A. So P. Diddy sort of has security when he goes out there, and he knows they're badasses. So when he gets scared of Suge Knight, obviously he meets Keefy D through Zip, and that's the guy he's going to hire to do it. It makes sense. Another amazing part about this is Keefy D is the guy, other than you, who is telling the story. So, I mean, Keefy D.
Keefy's still alive?
Well, it's 2010. I want to ask that, too. It's 2010 this is going on. So
Keefy's not alive.
Where the fucking documentary hits warp speed, getting great, is when, cops do their job and Greg and his crew realize that the guy that's going to, be the key witness is Keefy D. They basically take a long time to build up a drug case against Keefy D and his whole family, immediate family. And they call him in and present them with life in prison for you and your immediate family unless you help us out and tell us what you know about Biggie Smalls' killing. They thought he killed Biggie Smalls. Right, Greg? You thought he killed Biggie.
Well, that was one of the theories out there because we knew that Keefy D and his crew had attended the Peterson, they attended the vibe party at the Peterson Auto Museum, so we knew that they were there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should have explained it better. That's the night Biggie got killed, the Peterson.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Artie, you've been to the Vibe Awards, right? That's a big stop on your...
Listen, I'll tell you my connection to this because I knew Quincy Jones from Mad TV, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we think maybe that's a potential area that we've got to exhaust, and so we get him in, tell him the evidence that we have against him, and that he's got to figure out what he wants to do. He decides that he wants to cooperate, and he says, but I don't know. I can't tell you who killed Biggie. That wasn't us. But he says, what I am going to tell you will blow your fucking mind.
Okay, again, this is where it gets amazing because you go, okay, tell us what you know about Biggie getting killed. Okay, first of all, time-wise, for people who aren't aware of this, Biggie Smalls gets killed in March of 97. Tupac is killed in September of 96. So Tupac goes first. And there's a few months that go by. So by the time this museum party goes on, Tupac's been gone a while. And there's tension because that sparked a big war in L.A. that Puff Daddy didn't know about. Puff Daddy claims to not even have known Keefy D. He's like totally saying, I don't know what you're talking about. He claims to have never met him. And he's smart for doing that because that's keeping him out of jail. But Keefy D says he talks to Puff Daddy that night. He starts to think something's going to happen. Biggie gets killed. He tells you that. And he goes, but that wasn't us, meaning me and my crew. And you sort of immediately, and it does take kind of a break cop, because I'm not thinking that. You go, that wasn't you guys. Well, that means, what the question is, what was you guys? And he says, all right, I got to talk to my lawyer, because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. And then he proceeds to lay out the whole story of the fact that he didn't kill Biggie Smalls. He killed Tupac Shakur. He killed the other guy. And you're like going, under the orders of Puff Daddy. So he tells you Puff Daddy ordered a hit, like a mafia don, orders a hit on both Suge and Tupac, and these guys basically, months later, carried it out. And that's basically what he told you, right?
Well, actually, it was within days of that conversation at Greenblatt that he spoke with Puffy, and then that was the gave him basically the solicitation and agreement, and then they go to Vegas, shortly thereafter. So it all happened quite quickly.
Okay, the other, again, Greg, you don't have to comment on this. I'll do it because I've already burned bridges. Another unbelievably funny part about this documentary, if you're a white person, is okay, they meet for some reason at a Jewish deli, Greenblatt's, okay, next to the Laugh Factory. And because the cops are taping this and they have to get all the details right, Keefe D, who went to this place a billion times, knew Greenblatt's well, keeps calling it Greenbats. Doesn't put the L in. Okay, does it about 4 times. So the cops, Greg and his partner keep going, Greenblatt, you mean Greenblatts? Because the tape has to be right. So it sounds like they're goofing up. He goes, yeah, so, I've seen probably a Greenbats. Greenblatts? Yeah. He never repeats it right, just goes, yeah. Wait, Greenbats. Greenblatts? Yeah. That's the conversation of the thing. And so again, brilliant job, Greg. So you pull it out of him. You make a deal with the guy. And you could tell he sounds, a lot of these guys, Italians went through this too when we came over here. You sound dumb, but you're really smart. Keefe D's clearly a smart criminal. He's saying that, look, I might still go to jail for this shit because it's federal and all that stuff. And he's like, you tell him this can't be used against you, blah, blah, blah. And so he starts to tell you the story to stay out of jail. And Puff Daddy brings him downstairs at Greenblatt's, yeah. And he goes downstairs, and you have to make sure that it's specifically for this because it's in court, and you see how cops have to really go back in the story. It's hard. And Puff Daddy says, you got to get rid of these guys. I'm really scared. And Keefe D goes, all right, we'll take care of them. Keefe D doesn't bring up the price. Puff Daddy says, we'll give you $1 million. And this is probably the funniest part of any documentary in the history of documentaries. Your partner goes, who brought up the $1 million for the hit? He goes, he did. Keefe goes, he did. He goes, you did? He goes, me? Shit. I'd have done it for 50. So wait a minute. So what is, I want to know this. What is your interpretation? Because there's 50 can mean a couple of things. Do you think that Puff Daddy, supposedly a great businessman, offered $1 million when he could have gotten him killed for $50?
You think it was 50?
Did he mean 50 grand at least?
Yeah, he did actually mean 50 grand.
He said
50, talking 50 grand. It's like, it's the way a dope dealer would phrase that.
Right, but still, 50 grand and $1 million, Puff Daddy, that's not a good business, man.
He would have done it for lunch at Greenbats.
Well, it was kind of funny because he goes
Greenblatt's?
Them projects, they just get for $1,500.
Oh, no, this is the best. Oh, yeah, right. So this whole exchange is unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Yeah, right. he goes, I'd have done it for 50. And first of all, if Biggie, you could tell Puff Daddy, if Puff Daddy's Jewish lawyer were there, it would have been 50 grand. I don't think, it's clear Puffy doesn't do those deals. So he says, I want $1 million. I'll give you $1 million. I've done it for 50. And then Keefe D and you guys are talking, you're laughing. You're like, yeah, that's ridiculous. He goes, yeah, man. He goes, shit. He goes, them crazy project motherfuckers kill your ass for $1,500.
And he's right.
Of course, because it's fucking drugs.
You got to shop around.
You got to shop around. Puff Daddy's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to talk to a couple other guys. See if I can get this down.
Artie, what goes to prove his point is the minimal amount of money that the guy takes to kill Biggie.
Right, exactly. What was the contract for Biggie Smalls?
It was 25 grand, but the shooter only got 14 of it.
Right. Okay. Again, I'm not even doing this justice. It's so amazing, this documentary. Right. The guy who ends up killing Biggie Smalls did it for 25 grand. And, okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. But so Keefe D takes the contract, and basically now it's an open thing. He goes, when we get the opportunity, we'll kill him. And now the opportunity comes about in Vegas because Keefe D's nephew, who they call Lane, is in Vegas for the fights, and they're all in Vegas for the fights. All the players on both sides, and Orlando Anderson gets beat up by the guy who's his uncle is paid to kill, and it's on. So Zip is in Vegas too. Puff Daddy's not in Vegas. Zip's in Vegas when that happens. They all meet at the MGM Grand afterwards, and Zip is sort of going, guys, it's perfect timing. My guy in New York, meaning Puff, he wants this done. I got a gun. He says he's out of Jimmy. I said, we got no Jimmys out here. He goes, I got a Jimmy. And he goes and gets the Jimmy in his Mercedes. He goes, yeah. He made it sound like a James Bond. He goes, yeah, motherfucker had a secret compartment in the Mercedes. He goes, you mean the glove compartment? Like, yeah. Called the glove compartment a secret compartment. Yeah, one of the Mercedes with a secret compartment.
No. He was talking about something called a trap.
Okay.
It is actual. It was in the armrest. You have to know it's there in order to find it.
Well, I'm sorry. When I repeat it to my Italian uncles, I say glove compartment. It's much funnier at Thanksgiving. Much funnier at Thanksgiving.
So the guy's name is Zip and the gun's name is Jimmy?
Right. So Zip is
right.
Zip and Jimmy.
As long as we got that down.
Yeah. Well, I know Jimmy from the Beastie Boys song. But yeah, so he says, I got a gun. And he goes, we'll go find him. You go find him. Go take care of this. This is the perfect time. So he goes, all right. He gives now this is in Vegas right after the fucking Tyson fight, and they find out what a stroke of luck. They find out that Tupac and Suge are going together, but just the two of them in a car to the 662 Club, which is a club Suge Knight's trying to get off the ground in Vegas. There's a big party there after the fight. Tupac's supposed to perform. Keefe D finds out that's going to happen. They get in a rental car. Well, they always drive rental cars because they can't put anything on you, as they say, if they get arrested. And they're in a four-door white Cadillac. And you knew that's how that was the car used in the murder. Again, now it gets even. That's another unbelievably funny part. They don't know. You're going to yourself at this point. How the fuck are they going to find Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur, two huge celebrities? It's hard to find your friends in Vegas, or you're assholes. These are two huge celebrities. How are they going to find them to kill them? So Keefe D, of course, gets three other. His nephew, who was beaten up, who has a stake in the game. He's mad. Keefe D, who's got $1 million coming to him, so he's cool with it. They got the gun. Four of them get in the car. Now, what's the name of the other two guys in the car?
The guy in the back seat with Orlando, his name's DeAndre Smith, and then the driver is a guy named Terrence Brown.
Okay. So, right. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is that it was being advertised all over town that Tupac and Mike Tyson and those guys were going to be making an appearance at the 662 Club.
Right.
So it was well advertised that that's where they'd be. That'd be the place to look.
Right. So it's out there now. Earlier in the documentary, where the filmmaker does a great job, he explains that when Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight are on the way there, these two chicks, notice them. And they go, hey, wow, it's yelling in the car. Hey, it's Biggie, it's Tupac. And Biggie, of course, going, hey, come with us to the club, trying to pick them up. And the girls, this is so great when chicks are clearly whores. And they try to say they're not. They go, we're not those type of girls. We're not just going there to fuck you. Blah, blah. When clearly you find out later in the night that the only reason they didn't go there is because they got in between gunfire. They weren't so wonderful as far as sluts are concerned. But no, they see these two huge celebrities and they scream out their name, and that comes into play later. So now Keefe D is telling you the story, and you're like, how did you find these guys? We're looking around, and talk about a coincidence. Out of nowhere, he goes, and then them two dumb bitches, we hear these two dumb bitches go, oh, yo, Tupac, we're looking around and go, there they go. This is what you say to him, the reason you found Tupac and Biggie was these women were shouting out their names. And he's like, yeah, man, they would have gotten away. these two bitches fell and yelled out, two broads are yelling out Tupac. That's how we found out who they were. So, and basically that's the truth, right?
Pretty much, except the guys in the Cadillac had already gone to the 662 Club to look for these guys, but they encountered some blood gang members there, so they knew there was going to be some hostility. So they said, hey, let's just kind of duck out here, and if they're going down the street in the opposite direction, here comes Suge's entourage, and they kind of stumble upon him, but they hear the girls screaming, Tupac, Tupac.
Oh,
and that's
wow.
That's what lights them up.
Again, you're probably going to run for office later in life. You're being very nice. They don't just leave. This is great, where you find out they're not professional hitmen. They're at the 662 Club where they're supposed to be. They know they're going there. They know they're going to be there. So they just have to wait. After 10 minutes, they get bored and goes, all right. One of the guys goes, let's get some liquor. They're not exactly the crew that took out Castellano for Gotti. Let's go get some liquor. They last 10 minutes they're waiting. They get bored. So they go to the liquor store. Coming back, that's when they hear the women yell out Tupac, and they see them. So they pull up next to him. And again, this exchange is amazing. They pull up next to him. Now, Keefy D was ready to kill him. He had the gun. He thought they were going to get on his side of the car. They didn't because of the weird configuration. They didn't plan on making a U-turn. It's on the side of the car where the guy in the back, in back of the driver, DeAndre Smith, he would have to kill him. So Keefy D hands the gun and goes, take care of this. And DeAndre Smith, supposedly a tough guy, says no, right?
Yeah, he basically says, this isn't my beef. So.
It's not my beef. Right. Okay. So Keefy D can't do it because he'd be shooting across the driver. So Orlando Anderson, supposedly all, mad because of what happened, and clearly not the greatest of citizens, he grabs the gun and goes, give me that motherfucker. And this is where Greg is going verbatim. You're acting out this whole thing. He goes, Orlando Anderson says, give me that motherfucker. Points the gun out the window, and basically, it is chilling when you hear this. Basically, at point blank range, kills Tupac Shakur.
Just starts firing right into the car and hits Tupac 4 times.
Right. Okay. Glazes Suge Knight. Now, here's where the argument that Suge Knight had him killed is ridiculous. And I always said this. Why would Suge Knight say, make it look good? Shoot him when I'm a foot from him and just try to glaze me to make it look good. Of course, that didn't happen. They were trying to kill both of them. That's something else people don't realize. The contract was for 2 of them. And Suge Knight just gets hit a little bit. He's trying to duck. And,
you use Tupac as a shield.
Well, yeah, kind of. Tupac, it's kind of chilling. They're talking, these Crips are going, yeah, Tupac was trying to, run in the back seat and blah, blah, blah. And they just, it does suck, too, in this documentary. The 2 talented guys, the 2 geniuses, they're dead. These other guys, Tupac, like rap again or not, he's clearly a talented guy. So's Biggie Smalls. They're the ones dead. Suge is fine. This dirtbag who fucking goes on to whatever. He's just a producer, and doesn't have the talent of Tupac, and he's alive. And he gets glazed a little bit. Now, he looks over and sees Keefy D, and Keefy D says, yeah, I thought he was dead, man. A bullet went in his head, but he looked right in my eyes, and I knew he knew me. And you find, is this the first time you find out they knew each other, Keefy D and Suge?
It is. He gives us the background on their relationship, and I was just floored. I'm like, holy shit, you guys grew up together. He's like, man, we know each other since we were 8 years old.
Right. We knew each other since we were 8 years old. So he's watching his childhood friend get killed.
Now, they were... Yeah, so they weren't friends. I mean, they were rival gangs. They knew of each other. They're both from Compton.
Right.
So they're aware of each other. So, yeah, he looked straight at him. So Suge looked directly in the eyes of, people he recognizes, and they're shooting Tupac and shooting at him. And
what corroborates that story is you did have information that Suge Knight was telling people, not the cops, he's keeping the code of the street there. He's telling people that, look, I know who shot us. They're Crips.
Yeah. That night he goes back to the club, or after he gets released from the hospital, I should say, and he meets up with the leaders of the gang that he associates with, and says, "All right, here's who it was, and here's what we're going to do." Right.
Okay. So right there, they start planning, and that's how the 2 murders are connected. Directly because of that, they start planning to kill Biggie. Okay. Here's my one. This is never brought up, and I don't. Do you think it's odd? Because he's looking at trying to get, the easiest possible sentence from you guys. Do you think it's odd that the guy who does the shooting, according to Keefe D, is the one dead guy, because Orlando Anderson dies a year later in a drug-related, gang-related
Natural causes.
He had a heart attack, but at 24. Yeah, so now according to Keefe D, the one guy who's dead does the shooting. Did you ever think it was possible he's lying and he did the shooting in case it comes back and he gets beat for that because he's trying to get a light sentence? Do you ever think he was lying about that?
No, not at all. I mean, so many different details that he presented to us were corroborated, and they could only have been known by the people that were actually there. And we had other people telling us that Orlando was the shooter. He was bragging about it in his neighborhood for, weeks to come.
Okay, but you also say that one informant in Compton said the day after the murder, they're in the white Cadillac in Compton, and DeAndre Smith, in fact, right in front of Orlando Anderson, was bragging that he did the shooting.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Terrence, everyone's trying to take credit for it, but we knew it was Orlando.
Okay.
Orlando was, if you knew Orlando and his history, there was little doubt as to who the shooter would have been. He had, like you said, he had a personal stake in it. He had just been beaten down by Suge and Tupac. So
right.
I think that's one of the reasons that his focus was more on Tupac than on Suge.
Right. But the guy, again, the reenactments are great. The guy playing DeAndre Smith, he says to this informant, "I'll let off on Tupac." And you cops go, "What does let off mean?" He goes, like you're idiots. He goes, "Shooting a person." I go, "What are you guys, assholes? Didn't you go to college?" "Man, I let off on Tupac." "What's that mean?" "Shooting a person." The documentary is unbelievable. So now now inadvertently, okay, here's the big thing. I buried the lead. The whole reason they were going to let this go, whereas, the story was bad cops did the killing. This documentary sort of alludes to it. It's the general knowledge that bad cops did this. The case was done. They're not going to, it wasn't going to get opened again. They hire you to be the head of this task force, the LAPD does, not to solve the murder. The basic secret, the secret motive of the LAPD was Biggie Smalls' mother, because she's convinced it's bad cops, puts in a lawsuit against the NYPD, the LAPD, for $400 million for wrongful death, because she believes, based on the documentary and popular opinion, that bad cops did this, and she thinks civilly she can prove it, and she wants $400 million. LAPD's scared of that. So they hire you guys not to solve the murders, but to just say, get enough evidence to where we know it wasn't bad cops, so the lawsuit goes away, right?
Well, I was certainly led to believe we were there to solve the murder.
Oh, okay.
As history would, as time played out, we realized that was their incentive, was primarily to get out from under that lawsuit. They just needed to prove otherwise. But we were always keeping in mind the fact that, potentially it could have been dirty cops. We went down that road,
right,
in order to,
I must say, I fast forward to the most interesting part. The first 45 minutes, at least, of the documentary shows how you guys disproved it was not the dirty cops, and there's all this evidence it was not the LAPD guys. You set it up with that, and then you go, okay, here's who it was. So, do you think the LAPD thought you were going to come close to solving the murders?
Man, I don't know, and I wasn't sure. It was such a convoluted case, and there was so much to work through. I wasn't sure until we hit the nail on the head with TPD, and then, as we'll talk about later, with Suge Knight's girlfriend. Until we uncovered those co-conspirators, I wasn't sure we were going to solve them.
Right. I mean, again, you're being very humble now and in the documentary, but I mean, you guys you did a pretty amazing job as far as I can tell. So basically now you solve, it's all like, crazy. You also say a funny thing that shows you into the government and bureaucracy. When you find out that Keefe D basically is pretty much right, you could tell that Puffy Combs probably did order this hit. Now you got Puffy Combs. Do you think you have enough to indict Puffy Combs at that point?
Not really. We knew that with just Keefe D's confession that it was going to be. I mean, it's his word against Puffy's. Puffy's going to bring in, multi-million-dollar, lawyers.
And it's a Crip. It's a gangster who's telling. And Puffy Combs is a successful businessman and a big famous guy. So you're funny in that documentary at that point. You go, they're going to squash the case when it goes up the chain of command because no one wants to do business on that level. It's just so basically what you're saying is if you tried to indict him based only on Keefe D's story, because at Greenbats or Lats, you point out that when the actual hit is made, there's nobody else to corroborate it. At that point, it's just Keefy D and Puff, and it's his word against Puff Daddy's, and a crip with the records. It's not going to work, right?
That's right. And so that's what our strategy was to now go after Zip, because he could corroborate Keefy D, and he was the intermediary between Keefy D and Puffy. So that was the strategy, but everything got upended.
So now you're going to use Keefy D. Again, this is police work. You don't have enough. You're going to use Keefy D to basically set up Zip. And Keefy D and Zip had a drug business before in their life. And you get Keefy D to go to New York to Zip's nightclub in Harlem. Ryan, I'll give you one guess. What's the name of Zip's nightclub in Harlem?
Zips?
Zip code. Okay. Zip code. So, okay. They go to Zip code. And Keefy...
A lot of bluegrass music.
So now you make the point that goes, Zip is very, very savvy with this. He's been through it before. He's not going to be easy to set up. Keefy D says, why don't we get back into the drug business? And you plan on, using the drug business that they get into, surveil it with Keefy D as an informant, and get enough evidence against Zip to flip on Puff Daddy. That's the goal. But I have that right? That's what you're going to do.
That's it.
Okay. So Zip is bright and goes, listen, man, I have cancer, which you probably thought was bullshit. I can't do this. Here's my cousin. Talk to him. And you find out later the cousin was just a soldier that worked for him. He was kind of vetting Keefy D. He was like, the cousin was going to say he wants to make sure he's not what he was, an informant for the cops, right?
That's exactly right. But then there's this other element to it that we find out later, that the partial payment for the $1 million had been made through Zip, and he never gave it to Keefy D. So now Keefy D shows up on his doorstep at his nightclub in New York, and Zip's probably thinking, damn, is this motherfucker here to kill me?
Right.
I never found out, he never gave me the money. So that's why he's kind of keeping Keefy D at arm's distance.
Yeah, it's all fascinating. Police work and gangster, the way they are, it's unreal. Okay, that's another aspect of it. That
Keefy got no money?
Okay, well, listen to this.
No money? He didn't even get the 50?
Listen to this. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Okay. Now, of course, Puff Daddy gets told through Zip that was because Puff Daddy sees now Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight are killed in Vegas. Sees it on the news. Calls the West Coast, and they get together. That's another place to get together. That barbecue place next to Pink's on Melrose. They meet there, and Zip is talking to. Here's something else that was glazed over. Zip is talking to Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy says, "Was that us?" They go, yeah. And Puff Daddy goes, all right, we need the money. He says, I'm not going to say this over the phone, but it was planned that Zip was going to go get the money in New York and come back with it, the $1 million. Now, Puff Daddy called. You also say there, Faith called. What is that? Who's Faith? Is that Faith Evans?
Yeah, that's Biggie. Yeah, her and Zip were really close.
So Faith knew. Faith Evans knew about the hit.
Yeah, well, it's possible. Now, keep in mind, Faith and Zip are really close. As a matter of fact, Zip is her and Biggie Smalls' kid's godfather.
Okay,
so there's it's all connected.
Right, but again, the mafia guys like Carlo Gambino used to have this down pat before, Mob Wives was on TV. You never told broads anything, but Faith totally knows about the hit. She called to check it and finds this out. Puff Daddy is ecstatic. Puff Daddy's like, wow, you got him, blah, blah, blah. So Keefy D's like, tells Zip off the phone, obviously, go get the money. Now, the documentary claims that Zip got $500,000 of the $1 million as a first payment, I guess, or whatever. What happens there? What happens there? But Zip supposedly gets the 500 G's. It never gets the Keefy D. Like, what happened?
Yeah, so half the job's done, half the payment's made. It never gets forwarded through, forwarded over to Keefy D out here on the West Coast. Zip puts it in his pocket, reportedly, and runs off with the money. Now, Keefy D goes to prison shortly hereafter, so now everybody's happy because, Zip's thinking, well, I just took this money, that dude's in jail, it's all good. No one's going to know any better.
Okay, you also say Puff Daddy and Zip had a falling out. Is that true?
Well, supposedly, I think that if it's true that Puff found out that Zip never forwarded the money to Keefy D, then I can see how that would lead to some division.
Okay,
but then again, keep this in mind. when Zip dies, not too years later, who attends his funeral and gives the eulogy?
It's Zip?
Well, it's Zip's funeral, but Puffy's
Zip. I'm sorry. He was there. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The cynic in me is you totally believe that Puff Daddy, basically the Frank Sinatra of rap, gave $500,000 in cash to a drug dealer to give Keefe D. Is there any chance Puff Daddy just never paid him and told Zip to tell him that and take the rap for him?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking maybe Puff Daddy said, look, I'll give you some money on the side. I'm not paying this guy for half a million. You're going to take the fall for this, but you're a gangster. You could go in that world. You take the blame. I'll give you $50,000. And, you can handle yourself in this. Keefe D might not go against you because you're a drug guy. He might go against me. I'm not really a gangster. And there's the deal. I mean, I was thinking that might happen. You're saying that's possible.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. We just know what people were told, and Keefe D was told by two very reliable sources from New York,
right,
associated with guys, that $500 was advanced and then never forwarded.
Well, listen, again, it's amazing that Puff Daddy, a shady guy, but still a guy that is on that level. 500 G's cash for a murder. That's okay. And Keefe D even says he never got the million, but he even says, he goes, look, man, we really felt this. He's like, if he would have given me half of the money, I would have stayed strong. Meaning street talk, like I wouldn't have, ratted or nothing. I would have, $500,000 would have been fine. But he just got nothing and really felt like, disrespected for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, Keefe D's now got his back against the wall. He's looking at a long prison term. He never got paid. I think all those elements came into mind when he decided to cooperate.
Okay, so before we move on to the Biggie Smalls thing, Ryan asked a great question I'm curious about. What happens to Keefe D? Is he alive right now? Where's Keefe D? In jail?
He just got out of jail just within months, a couple months ago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Watch out, Puffy.
Well, listen, can me, you, and him get together a green badge, maybe?
I'll do whatever I can to introduce you guys if you're interested.
I think in honor of Keefe D, the owners of that should drop the L. I think, he drops L's because I think he said, yeah, it's right next to the F factory.
It's funny because out here in dope parlance, it's greenback.
Right.
So I think naturally.
That's what he's thinking of? Do you think he actually thinks that's the name of it?
No.
I used to have a joke. I used to have this lame joke. Supposedly, you remember the basketball player Anthony Hardaway?
Yeah.
Supposedly his mother, not an educated woman, named him Anthony and wrote on the birth certificate, that's how she thought you spelled Anthony. And he supposedly said that's the reason he's Anthony. She thought that's how you spelled Anthony. So I had a ridiculous joke. I said, Patrick Ewing has a similar story. Patrick Ewing is named that because that's how his mother thought you spelled Anthony.
Oh.
I used to get some moans. All right. I dropped it from the first special. All right, so now, okay, so you're thinking, I solved this murder. Now you go on to Biggie Smalls. So basically, nobody in this world does the Biggie Smalls hit. So the logical thing is Suge Knight's mad, really mad, because now he's doing 9 fucking years. And, Death Row Records is going under. His associates are getting shot like crazy. And in 2003... one of his associates, one of many, is driving a motorcycle through Compton, and he gets shot and killed. And what's that guy's name?
His name was Wardell South. They called him Poochie.
Poochie. Okay, Poochie gets killed.
Poochie
gets killed, but this is a significant murder. There's 15 death row guys get killed at some point. It sounds like Suge Knight got 80 guys killed just because of bad business decisions. But, okay, so one of them, and again, they set it up great in the documentary, one of them is a guy on a motorcycle who just gets shot in 2003 who knows one of Suge Knight's baby mamas really well and is in that world. You find out why that's significant later on. You figure your very smart deduction at that point is Suge Knight connected to the Bloods, basically in retaliation, has through the Bloods Biggie Smalls killed, right? That's your logical thought.
Yeah, it's the logical conclusion based on the history of violence between the crews.
Right. So, what? By the way, what's the name of the Bloods? A specific name. The what Bloods?
Mob Pyru, M-O-B.
Mob Pyru Bloods.
Mob Pyru.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In interest of accuracy, here we're gonna do that. So, okay, Mob Pyru Blood. So he goes to these. He goes to one of these guys. So Suge Knight within his posse has a guy who basically you find out later on does hits for him, like beats people up and kills people. You have evidence he did kill a guy for Suge Knight, a guy, and that's Poochie, right?
That's right.
Okay. So the logical thing in your head is Suge Knight would go to Poochie and say, look, the hit is yours for 25 grand. The problem is Suge Knight has to order this hit from prison. He's in jail. And the way he does that is fascinating. One of his baby mamas is good friends with Poochie. He, in a very brilliant move, and I want to ask you how you pull this off, he has to order a hit in prison, but everything is monitored. So he somehow gets his girlfriend, Poochie, this girlfriend that you can't say her real name, okay? What do you call her in the documentary?
Teresa Swan.
Okay, Teresa Swan. It's a fake name. Basically, he makes the people at the jail believe she's part of his legal team, which means, client privilege with the attorney, and they can't fucking record the conversation. She goes there as part of his legal team, and in that meeting that they can't record at the fucking jail, he orders a hit. He goes, look, get Poochie, tell him to kill Biggie Smalls, and here's how you get him the money through this guy, blah, 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 and tell him it's got to get done. So she gets sent off with that information, and she's the intermediary. You find out that part of that money is hers for doing this, so she's a major, major accessory to murder, and finds Poochie and orders this hit, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we did the same thing essentially with her that we did to TPD. We put her back up against the wall where she had to make that life-changing decision to cooperate or go to jail.
Right.
And she decided to cooperate, and that's when she divulges all this information. And at the time, Suge had this dirty criminal defense attorney named David Kenner, and he's the one who facilitated or arranged so that she could go into the jail. He wrote a letter to the county, sheriff and said, hey, she's part of Suge's legal team, and you need to let her into the attorney-client area where she can have these private conversations.
Yeah. Could you imagine one of Suge Knight's baby mamas from Compton walking to the jail as an attorney?
Unbelievable. Well, listen, she pulled it off, right? I mean,
She don't look bad, man.
She's good looking, huh? Yeah. All right, that's
maybe,
what
I'm just saying.
I know. Well,
did she dress the part? Did she dress like
I think he's saying the cops are like, you're hot enough. It's fine. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. So she goes in as an attorney, and he orders the hit, get the 25 grand through his bodyguard. They get the 25 grand, give it to her, and she keeps like 12 for herself, which is what you figured out, and gives whatever else to a Poochie and another 4 grand to get the fuck out of town. And basically, Poochie, pretty efficient. No real, snags. Kills that night. He kills Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, it was really the irony between the two shootings are just incredible because it's the same type of thing. He just pulls up aside the entourage,
right,
and identifies that Biggie's sitting where he's sitting and just starts firing into the passenger door, just like Tupac 6 months earlier.
Unbelievable, but that murder seems to go off without any snags. It's like
you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I guess so. So you think without question Poochie's the trigger man? Poochie killed Biggie Smalls.
Mind.
Huh?
No doubt in my mind.
No doubt in your mind. No doubt. Okay, so now he's dead, which means Orlando Anderson's dead. So both trigger men, both guys who actually pulled the trigger on these guys are dead now.
They both get shot and killed years later in unrelated gang activity.
Right.
So, yeah. So here's the irony. Here's the thing that you missed over, Artie, that's interesting, is that after Suge Knight's seen on videotape stomping Orlando Anderson at the MGM, and he has his probation violated, so now he's in jail.
Oh, yeah, this is a great part. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so he then knows that he's got to get Orlando Anderson to basically perjure himself in order to try to keep himself out of prison. So he offers the guy who just shot and killed Tupac Shakur and shot at him upwards of, one story $16,000 or $60,000.
Wow.
But essentially says, I will pay you to come to the court and say that I was trying to break the fight up and stomp on your head.
I was trying to help you.
Yeah, so say I was trying to help you, and he does. He gets on the stand and says, yeah, Suge was trying to help me. He was trying to break it up. Now, here's the guy that just murdered the top rapper, his good friend, and he's purging himself for you for chump change.
Right.
And that's just the irony of all this thing, is that what these guys will do for money.
And Keefy D is a true gangster. He's mad at Orlando, his nephew, for making this deal. He thinks he's selling out.
Yeah, he's like,
Right.
What the hell are you doing, man? I mean, those are the enemies. Those are the guys we're warring with. They're killing us. We're killing them. Now you're going to go take the stand to help Suge stay out of prison? Hey,
So-
it's the money.
Basically, did it help? It didn't help Suge. They didn't believe it.
Man, the judge looked over at Orlando and said, give me a fucking break.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
that's a good twist in it, too. So basically, you have now solved. How long did it take you? 3 years to do this?
3 years.
Okay. You have now solved both fucking murders, two of the most famous murders maybe ever in this country. You solve it, and you're about to sort of try to go forward with all these, flipping zip and all that shit to get the P. Diddy. And you really, really felt you were about to go forward, and you really were, sort of determined you were going to try to indict Puff Daddy for ordering a murder.
That was the plan. We were just going to
Wow.
wrangle up Zip. We were going to compromise Zip, get him into a situation where he could corroborate CCD as part of the conspiracy, and then we'd have enough to indict Puffy.
Wow. So basically, you know what's great about this? A lot of cops will tell you this. If there's a logical answer to something, that's probably the answer to something. You know what I mean? It's like there's usually not some crazy twist. There's all these great crooked cops, blah, blah, blah. The most logical answer to all this whole thing is they're really getting escalated, and these guys get really scared because people are dying. And Puff Daddy gets gangsters to kill Tupac and try to kill Suge, and then Suge gets gangsters to kill Biggie Smalls, and that's the logical explanation, and it's the truth.
It's that simple, man.
Yeah.
None of these guys are rocket scientists. I mean, you can hear that for yourself.
Right. I know. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, do you think was Puff Daddy also a target that night, or was it just Biggie?
It was just Biggie, from what we understand. And here's what happened: shortly after the murder of Tupac in Las Vegas, a rumor started that it had been Biggie Smalls in Vegas that provided the gun to kill Tupac. And so, with that rumor and the knowledge that Suge had that the Southside Crips, TPD and his crew, were doing security work for Biggie and Bad Boy, naturally he allowed that rumor to draw his conclusion that it was Biggie. But it was never Biggie in Vegas. It was Zip. It was his godfather.
Right. And an interesting part about this is the guy who comes out really innocent is Biggie. Biggie, you said, was the documentary leads to believe, and you seem to agree, that Biggie Smalls was this artist who was sheltered by a lot of people through Puff Daddy, and he didn't know about a lot of this going on. It was all behind his back.
We don't have any information to lead us to believe that he knew about the solicitation of Suge and Pac's murder. We don't have any information to suggest that. But at the same time, he was out there singing songs, mocking, who
Right.
shot,
Right.
and so he wasn't. He certainly wasn't doing everything he could to alienate himself from the situation.
Yeah, and again, you could say incited the murders. Well, listen, man. Amazing. I mean, I basically gave you the cliff notes here, but it's fascinating to watch how this plays out, and you're really great in it. And the name of it is Murder Rap. What's the full name?
Murder Rap: Inside the Biggie and Tupac Murders.
And basically, what happens to you? It sounds like typical bureaucratic bullshit. You're sort of they hit you with an internal affairs beef after this that was bullshit, and you get phased out of police work, right?
Well, what happened? I got phased out of the investigation. It was a strategic move by the LAPD. They know they didn't want to exhaust any more money or resources once they've gotten out from under that massive lawsuit, which was always, now as we see, the intention.
So
we did that.
Yeah. So you're a hero. You're a hero to these guys because everything is about money. Fuck the murders. You saved them $400 million, maybe. So I would say they liked you.
Yeah, well, you would think, but then when I left and wrote a book and publicly talked about this case, and I don't think they appreciate that, but it is what it is.
Well, shit happens, man. Hey, look, you're clearly a bright guy. I'd hire you to do anything. I mean, my God, great job, and the documentary's great. We'll plug it more. And you got anything else you want to plug? You got anything going on?
I'll tell you, Artie. I actually think you tell the story better than I do. So,
Yeah, I'm amazed by it.
Yeah. No, well, listen. I'm fascinated by murders. Like these big time. The Chappaquiddick with Ted Kennedy. I could watch 40 documentaries on that. Of course, the OJ thing I was obsessed with for a while. This is another one, and I'll tell you my connection to it. The first job I had in show business in 1995, right around the time of this, I went out to L.A. and I was on a show called Mad TV, a sketch show on Fox. Quincy Jones was the producer of that show, and I got to know him a little bit. And on one occasion, I was in the back of a limo with Quincy. He was the editor of Vibe magazine. And his daughter, Kadita, was dating who I knew because I was on a private jet with Kadita and Quincy. They took me on a jet. She was a doll. She was dating Tupac when he got killed, which is covered in this. Right. Covered in this too. And I'll tell you, man, Quincy Jones, in a conversation I overheard him talking to one of his business guys with Vibe. Tupac and Biggie were on the cover of Vibe, and he was looking at, and he wasn't talking to me, and I kind of overheard it. I was eavesdropping. He basically was saying, like, these two motherfuckers are gonna die. They're gonna kill each other. Like, what are they do? What the fuck are they doing? Like, they're dumb. You're talking about billions of dollars. They're gonna kill each other. Like, he was frustrated. It's Quincy Jones talking, and he goes, "I'm telling you, these guys. One of them gonna be dead in like a year, and both were dead a year later." And that always gave me chills. I overheard Quincy Jones say that.
Predicted it.
Are you saying Quincy Jones killed them both?
No, I'm saying Quincy Jones.
I'm
saying Quincy. You're putting words in my mouth. No, I'm saying Quincy Jones would love to have stopped it. And also, I thought I was Kadita's type. I hit on her. Clearly, I wasn't. Tupac. Listen, unbelievable job, Greg, and I will be your champion here. I hope you're getting a piece of this documentary. I mean, come on.
Yeah, thanks, Artie. I do appreciate it. And Mike did a great job with the documentary. He produced, on a low budget.
Yep.
Put together great. So I'm really happy with it.
What's his name? The full name of the guy?
Mike Dorsey.
Mike Dorsey. Amazing job. I'd love to talk to him.
He did everything.
Yeah.
He edited, he produced, he did it all. He funded it. So I'm really stoked for the guy.
And Dan, we got it on iTunes, right? Where do we get that? You DVR'd it.
Right, it was on the Reels channel.
It was on the Reels channel. You can see it there.
Yeah, it's on there still.
Yeah, and you can get it on DVD or download or whatever. It's amazing. Listen, don't be a stranger, man. You got anything else going on? Listen, let's go to Greenbats and I'll buy you pastrami.
Yeah, that's right. Or hey, look me up when you're in Vegas next. I'll take you on the tour. You'll be amazed at how centrally located all these places are. They're right down the street from each other. I mean, honestly.
No, I'm a big Vegas guy. I know the exact, when KVD was saying, yeah, we were rolling up on Harmon. And then we got I'm a big Vegas, that was my town for a while. And of course, I was at those corners, but because of various reasons, I don't remember them. But you live in Vegas now. I will, man. You seem like a good guy. I love to hang and let's KVD's out. Let's go hang with him.
Hey, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
The three of us rolling.
Yeah, I'll tell him I got a Jimmy in a secret compartment.
We'll rent a white Cadillac.
I'll get my friend Jimmy, and I'll let him know. All right, man. Great job. Thanks for coming on. This was fascinating, and thanks, Al. We'll talk to you soon. Be careful, brother. Be careful.
I will, man. I really appreciate it. God bless all you guys.
All right, you too, buddy. Later on. All right.
Thanks. Bye.
We talked a long time. We'll recap it. We got to take a break. Thank you. Ready when you are, Grizzly.
We're rolling.
Hey now, we're back. Not back. I guess it's the front. This is the beginning. We're all over the place here. A lot of very interesting broadcasting news here. Yeah. Oh. Dan, right on top of it. Does not have to be asked. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that undeniable sound, that familiar holiday sound as we head into the Thanksgiving Day weekend. That's the opening song you're hearing to the Artie Lang Uncensored podcast at artiequitter.com, home to literally hundreds of people who subscribe. Literally. And at just under $7 a month, probably the best bargain in the history of broadcasting. I think Thomas Edison would agree. And that is my air conditioning unit. The fan is on high. We cannot afford the publishing rights to a new song for the show, like Sanford and Son or the Jeffersons. So this is our moving on up.
Now, do you think they can tell the difference between the air conditioning unit and the air cleaner that we got for Judah Freelander?
I don't think they can tell the difference between the air conditioning unit and Chris Cotton when he's on. Is that the air cleaner?
Yes.
You see, no, I don't like that. No, that's alternative. I'm a classic air conditioning unit. Some very respected names in comedy have pulled me aside and told me they love the air conditioning. Fan on high is my theme song. And it's all, mother is the necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention. The invention doesn't know its father. It's much like the black community. Hey, come on. Grow up. Mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity? Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention. Father pays child support. We don't know where he is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chicago.
I'm sorry, Chicago. Well, Chicago, Dan. What's going on with your home city, dude? Fucking Jesus. It's crazy there. It's goddamn jihad.
If they destroy that Trump Tower, that's where they're marching in front of. I'm going to be very upset.
Why are they marching in front of there?
But you know what? Most of the TV stations are right in that circle there.
Dan's talking about the Trump
Hotel.
International. Okay, Trump International Hotel and Spa. That's what it's called. I've stayed there about 3 times to do stand-up, and it is a fucking great hotel, man. There's condos in it. Ivanka was there the last time I was there. Ivanka Trump. Stunning looking. And I tweeted out that I enjoyed her hotel. I guess she runs it, which I'm sure she really had to battle hard to get that position. That's the one that the first winner of The Apprentice was involved with?
Yes, yeah. Bill Rancic.
Well, God. Man, it's a beautiful, beautiful structure. The 16th floor has a restaurant on a terrace, outside restaurant, bar, the whole spiel. The broads that work there, holy living jihad. Man. I don't know if Trump is personally involved in hiring those chicks, but it's a good job, whoever hired them. By the way, Donald Trump's sons, they're odd looking.
Yeah.
They've got that odd, rich kid sort of, I just got my braces, awkward white, ugh. They're very, very, adolescent looking, even in their 20s. They look inbred, like those blue blood inbreds.
And their suits don't fit right for some reason. They just don't look good.
Really?
Yeah, they just...
I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The tie on the neck is down low. They look like their teeth are bulging. They can't get a good dentist. Jesus. Yeah, and putting those kids, that's why I wouldn't do Celebrity Apprentice. Putting those kids, judge the people. Could you imagine Donald Trump's fucking shithead kids giving business advice? Here's what I would do, guys. I'd be born rich. That's what I fucking did. What the fuck do they know about anything? I mean, what an arrogant move. I'm going to put my kids to be judges on Celebrity Apprentice and tell Gilbert Gottfried what he's doing wrong. Well, I don't feel Gilbert is, into this. Yeah. Condescending, arrogant. They're judging. They're literally called judges. They're judging. Dan, your thoughts?
I would like some type of death match between the Trump kids and the Hilton kids.
Well, there you go.
Some type of...
Well, I don't know. That Hilton brother is very angry. He's got a lot of anger. And I hear he paints. He gets the anger out.
Who doesn't? We all paint.
If there's any justice, he'd really be painting like a deck. An addition on a house. That's what he should be fucking painting.
A hotel room.
A hotel room, something. Yeah, again, I don't. That's why some people said, Celebrity Apprentice. I don't know if I do it. I don't think I can handle sitting in that fucking boardroom while Bucktooth McGee Trump Jr. and his fucking suit that don't fit right, that costs more than my own man made in a year, sits there and tells me what the fuck I did wrong on the hot dog selling challenge with Travis Tritt. Oh, embarrassing. Those fucking tasks they get. I saw the one with like Geraldo and Donnie Deutsch. Donnie Deutsch, that a real estate guy? Donnie Deutsch? Oh man. I did his show once. He's so arrogant, but on TV it's oozing out of him. The arrogance, he thinks he's funny. He tries to be funny sometimes. Holy shit. What the fuck? How much does he pay the people around him to fake laugh at him? Because you know they have to fake laugh at Donnie Deutsch. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you will not be watching his new sitcom?
Well, no, that's how I saw him. He's been all over the place.
Yeah.
Wait, he's on a sitcom? Like a
Yeah,
traditional...
it's called Donnie. It's on, is it on USA, I think? The USA Network?
I thought that was about Donnie Wahlberg.
No.
Donnie Deutsch?
It
Well,
is
look, Emerald
on
got one.
USA Cable Network announced Deutsch will appear at the end of November in the new sitcom Donnie.
Wait, like on
A comedy with Deutsch playing a fictional version of himself.
On what? What?
On USA Network.
He is a fictional version of himself. He's a fictional version of a human being. It's on USA Network?
Yes.
So he's acting in like a 4-camera shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Jesus. And it got picked up.
Yes,
Comics can get a show on the fucking air. Well, I guess he's popular. I guess that's where... Is he? I don't know. You know.
He has published several books, including the business motivational book Often Wrong, Never in Doubt, Unleash the Business Rebel.
Unleash the Business Rebel. Fucking... Oh, God, the world is so terrible.
He has a place in New York City and the Hamptons.
Well, of course he does.
East Hampton.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll all be there for Donnie. Set your DVR. Tonight on CBS, Alice, followed by the Jeffersons, and the brand new Donnie Deutsch comedy, Donnie, where Donnie plays a fictional version of himself. On an all-new Donnie, followed by House of Buggin', starring comedian John Leguizamo. I'm teasing Pat Summerall because I'm going to do something at the end of the show into the beginning of our next show, which won't be till Monday because, of course, it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Tomorrow we go eat some bird and absolutely give thanks for God knows what. And but, you know, I'm going to do it. He was famous for you old people there who listen. He used to, Pat Summerall, the announcer for CBS Sports, used to do a thing with the show Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. And it was an ongoing gag. It started out as, you know, they didn't realize it, but they said, you know, Pat, when you do Murder, She Wrote, you take a pause. Like I think Pat Summerall, you know, was a former player, he was a kicker, and it started out where I think he was really trying so hard to be a good broadcaster, and I think someone told him pauses are important. And there's a comma. It's rare that a title of a show has a comma in it, but there's a comma in Murder, She Wrote in between the murder and she. So he would go, tonight on CBS, Alice, the CBS Sunday night movie at Child's Ridge, the Jessica Connor story, followed by an all-special new Murder, She Wrote. He'd take a pause. I think he thought it was appropriate. And he would make it long sometimes, and John Madden eventually started laughing at it. They thought it was a big gag. And then, it became a thing. Like on CBS, they would talk about it during So I'm going to try something for you old broadcasting fans. At the end of the show today, I will just go, murder. It's the last thing I'll say. You won't hear She Wrote until Monday when I start the show. It's the first thing I say. First thing I say you'll hear is She Wrote. So I will take the longest pause in the history of broadcasting. Dan is the producer of the show. I say to you, your thoughts.
As long as it's not Murder, She Bob.
Murder, She what?
She Bob.
What's that?
Wasn't that a song? She Bop.
Was it?
Yeah.
Murder She Bop.
Lauper. It was Cyndi Lauper.
Really? Murder She Bop?
No, it was something. She Bop.
God. Jesus. Here's the thing about me and Dan, the dynamic. A lot of you people like it. I mean, 2 people, I think. Like it. Some people on Twitter said that, and I do. I love the dynamic. Dan and I could not be more opposite people. I mean, Dan is very efficient. Like he does, he doesn't jaywalk. He runs across the street in Manhattan. What are you running for?
I don't want to get hit by a fucking truck.
Dan,
Not everyone is Artie Lang.
What does that mean? I can't get hit by a truck?
No, because they stop and see you.
They'll
hit me.
Dan, again with nobody sees me. Truck drivers are legal. They're not even on the van. What do you mean they hit you? What is that? Dan, make a right explanation. What you run like there's nothing. How am I like I'm walking? I'm not even. I'm walking very slowly across the street.
Well, technically, we're jaywalking.
Oh, so? Show me a fucking cop that gives a jaywalking ticket, dude. In New York City, in L.A. they do it. 1996 or 7, I was in L.A. for about a year. I got a jaywalking ticket. I laughed at it. I said, "You got to be fucking kidding me, right?"
How much was it?
With those boots. I don't know. I was on the set of the show, the movie Lost and Found with Spade, and I told the assistant director, and he got me out of it. He went over and talked to the guy, but the guy had those leather knee-high boots they wear in L.A. And what the fuck? Gee, calm down.
Like in Chips, the TV show Chips.
Yeah. Well, did you have the Eric Estrada poster?
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. No, but again, Dan runs very effeminate, and it's very effeminate, and he's very he gets things. But today I wanted to play some voicemails later, and he lost the voicemails in the iCloud, and he went and got them. I got it backed up. And he starts talking to himself like it's important or something. Like I'm making a sandwich, and I notice Dan's having a conversation with somebody. Like I care.
I'm making a list in my head of things that I needed to.
Okay, so the iCloud. I got this. I got the iPad. Okay, that's downloading. Dan has like 8 cell phones, and I don't know what you're doing all the time. Like I asked for voicemails, but it's a different technology here. I want to play voicemails later. So Dan has 14 devices out. It looks like NASA. All right, I got the thing. Here's the thing. I got the app down. I'm downloading that. Ed, is Ed in Chicago? I got to talk to him. All right, I'm tweeting. Do you have your thing? Can I see your phone? Real quick. I'll just put this on here. You're in airplane mode. Okay, Wi-Fi? Are you working? What's the passcode? Do you know your password? Every room has a password, by the way. Do you know your password in the bathroom? No.
Thank God for Ed. That's all I got to say.
Do you know your password in the bathroom, Art? No, I don't. I don't know any passwords. Okay. Would Adrian know? No. Would Dana know? No, I haven't seen Dana in 10 years. Okay. Would your sister know? No. Okay. I'll call you your sister. Mom, your mother's on the phone. What? No. I bought cookies. What kind of cookies do you like? Here's the problem. Well, I go, what? Finally, I had to say something. I was making my 4th provolone sandwich, doing my Chris Cotton impression in the kitchen. I said, Dan, what are you doing? I like to relax. Yeah, I try to I do move with a lot of disinterest. I look like I've given up on every level. But I had that look when I was in the 4th grade, and I finally had to say something. I said, Dan, what are you doing? I said, because I wanted these voicemails. We're going to play these hilarious voicemails by. There's a lunatic who lives in Philadelphia. I know I got to be more specific. There is a loon in the Philly area who sends us fucking voicemails that are absolutely. The guy's certifiable, but they're so funny. So I asked Dan. Apparently, he's been leaving him for 8 months, and Dan overheard them today. So I asked him. And I said, I want to play him on the second half of the show here, whatever the first half this is. I don't know what we're doing. So he goes, okay. And I said, what's going on? He goes, the voicemail got lost in the cloud. So I had to go back. I got my iPad. I got that hooked up. I hooked my iPad up to the app on my cell phone. I got that going through. I'm running it back through the laptop. And what we're going to do is when we get Ed on the phone, he's going to do a live call in with the tech guys. Then Flippin is over, producing the show.
And people in the next condo can hear Ed go, I can't believe you're that stupid.
Who are you talking about?
Ed Silla.
What are you talking about?
You just said Ed. I had to.
Yeah.
Normally I call Ed when I have those problems, but I figured it out myself.
I can't believe. Okay, wait a minute. This is another great thing. Does anyone know what Dan fucking just said?
Ed says to me, I can't believe.
Who's the woman saying? I don't know.
No, that's how. You've heard Ed's voice. It's very high pitched.
I don't know. No.
You've heard him on the phone.
I don't think it sounds particularly high pitched. We've never brought that up. These non sequiturs Dan uses. Who in the audience is going to know what the fuck you're talking about? We're on the air. That's how Dan tells a story. And then people go, hey, what the fuck was that? What were you trying to say?
I'm not fucking Spalding Gray over here.
No, you're Spalding Gray. Well, that brings my point. That brings to my point. My next point. I don't know how to function. You know, I'm a mess, a complete mess. And Dan is a very efficient person, like very efficient. You know, everything's here, there. He's getting voicemails out of the iCloud. It's a voicemail. It's 2015. We're sending goddamn messages to God knows who across the continent with a press of a button. I want to play voicemails. And Dan has 14 different fucking Apple products out here. I got this charger, put the modulation up. Can you test your mic? I got the modulation. I got the. Is that on the phone? We got a conference in. I got to talk to Russ's friend around. So just for voicemails, I started to feel bad. Like, what are you doing? And he put it's up in the iCloud. I can't. And then he explains the cloud to me. And like, who accepts that explanation? Dan goes, it's up here. I go, where? He goes, it's in the cloud. What cloud? What are you talking about? He goes, the voicemails are up here. And he puts his hand up. I'm up where? In the sky? Does anyone pretend to understand what the fuck that means? That is black magic, man. That's creepy. So Dan knows how to do all of this, and we'll play the voicemails, you know. Assuming Dan hits record, we'll have... And again, you know, I know how to do one thing. I just sit down, and you know, I'm able to be, I guess, I don't know, entertaining on some level. Where Dan is the direct opposite of entertaining. I mean, that Ed anecdote. So, you know, it's an interesting dynamic here that we have going. And Dan and I are trying to find a way to make money off it. So far, so good. Spalding Gray and blah, blah, blah. So we got the voicemails. We'll play them later. I just feel bad for Dan when he's got to go through a million things to play these voicemails. But anyway, later on, I'll be doing the Murder, She Wrote, followed by House of Bacon. Tonight, Donnie Deutsch. Second episode of Donnie. The ratings were through the roof last week when we got introduced to a fictional version of Donnie Deutsch. He seems like an interesting guy. Yeah, Donnie Deutsch is one of those guys. He's clearly an egomaniac, like a fucking narcissist on a level I couldn't even imagine. His credits, that's what I saw him on. There's something called Talk Stoop. Have you seen Talk Stoop?
Is that where that woman in Brooklyn?
Cute blonde.
Yeah,
she's on a brownstone in Brooklyn, sitting on the first 3 steps on the stoop. Did you call it stoop in Chicago, sitting on the stoop?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then all the Chicago houses had a cement, like half wall there for the trucks to back up.
Right.
From the 1920s and 30s. And you could also park your car there.
Uh-huh. That's nice.
And then we would call that steer ball.
Steer ball?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You would hit the ball, you would bounce it first, and then hit it off the wall, and then hit it out into the street. You wouldn't use a bat.
Well, so how was steer? What do you mean?
So you'd steer the ball to where you wanted it to go.
Who invented that?
I'm sure it was the city of the 20th century.
You played?
Yeah, sure.
You didn't keep score?
Yes, I kept score.
I know, I'm saying. Did you?
Yes.
You only kept score?
Yes.
You played and kept score?
Yes. We used to, you make a chalk mark and you'd pitch to that. I was in Little League.
Dan is, I feel Dan's a bit of a bullshitter. Like
Okay.
I saw Dan play baseball. I can't even describe it. We played. We had an idea at the old DirecTV show. We'd have our own home run derby, and I thought it'd be funny to go back to my old Little League field in my hometown and just launch home runs. Have somebody lob in pitches, and we'll just launch home runs over the Little League fence. It was tough when you're a kid, but now you're grown. It's fun to do. Everybody, I thought everybody was able to, we're all grown men. I thought everybody was able to hit a home run out of a Little League field. I hit like about 15, and the young kid, beat me on the show, young 23-year-old kid. My cousin was, kicking ass too. But then Shane, Dan, even the couple. Dan didn't get a ball out of the infield.
That's bullshit.
Dan.
I got 3 out over the fence in the practice. Then I couldn't hit any when I was
practice. I'm Minnesota fat.
Then I couldn't hit it. What are you talking about? You were there.
But I don't remember you hitting anything.
Yeah, I got 3 out in the practice.
I think you're lying to save your face.
I'm not lying.
I mean, no.
Let's
but Dan,
call John Ritchie.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to bug John Ritchie. Something happened 2 years ago. He's got children. John's dealing probably with a kid crying 2 years from. You remember 2 years ago? Did Dan hit a home run in the league field? No. All right. So you say that, fine. But I saw you hit. I mean, again, it's you. I mean, you look like one of the Olsen twins swinging a bat. So Dan claims that in batting practice at Wrigley Field, in Major League Field, Greg Maddux, the pitcher, was not throwing his stuff, obviously. But your claim is not that he was really pitching.
No, he was not really pitching.
Okay.
He was telling me where
I
the
just
ball.
want to see how far the sickness goes.
I would buy him beer before he was 21.
All right.
He got called up early, and we were,
What? Why'd you buy him beer?
because he couldn't buy beer at some of the places.
So you bought him. You had to go buy Greg Maddux beer.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Was that your thing? Like with younger guys, you got the beer?
No, I did not.
What? Just the good-looking guys?
No.
Hey, you want a beer? I'm going to get some Bermuda shorts and a beer. So Dan claims Maddux throwing you. Dan claims he hit a home run at
in
Wrigley Field.
92 or 93. I would go out there I would have to do the pregame, and then around 94,
So you produced the pregame show?
Yes, the baseball pregame show.
Who was on that show?
It was at that. Harry would do the manager show. Harry Caray would do the manager show, and I think 92 or 93 that was still Popeye.
Wait a minute, Harry.
Oh, it was Harry Caray and Don Zimmer. It was hysterical.
Wait a minute. The two of them hosted a show?
Yes.
Hey, wait a minute. Oh, so Don Zimmer was the manager, in
Yes,
other words.
yes.
Okay. Now, did they have guests or they just talk?
No, it's just the two of them talking about the game before.
The way we are now.
Yes, exactly. It was priceless. It was absolutely
priceless. Let's try to do that.
And then
Hi! Welcome to the manager show. It's Harry Caray. Look who it is. It's I got fresh off apple picking with Jeter's fucking wife. It's Don Zimmer. How you doing? Don Zimmer. Yeah. How are you? How you doing? Yeah, Don Zimmer. Yeah. So listen. It's before the game. I've had a couple of pops. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're having some fun here. I was down on Rush Street. I was bar hopping with some of the gals. You got time to go with the gals. I'm here. I'm putting my cup on. I'm looking at the guys. I'm Don Zimmer. Yeah, you're looking at the guys. I tell you, you want to come out sometime? There's a gal over at there's a new restaurant. I think the gals they all got large breasts. It's a new theme. It's like an owl theme. Nah, I don't have enough time to get over there. I play baseball. I got up and Yeah, you're. I tell you what, I worry about you and your work. I tell you, Don, all work, no play makes Don a weird-looking bald guy. Yeah. I don't want to go over there for you. I mean, I'm not a partier. Yeah, it's called Hooters. Hooters. Wow. I go over there and I get a black and tan. That's what I do. And those are the waitresses. I say, give me a black and tan. The beer? No. No. I want a West African and a Puerto Rican. Yeah, and my wife, Cookie, she don't care. What's her name, Cookie?
Dutchie.
My wife, Dutchie. I love her. God, I love that woman. Yeah. So, hey, listen, will you go apple picking with Dutchie for me? Zimmer? Like you do with Jeter? Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll do it. I don't care. Well, I got a crazy schedule.
Now, you know the reason why that the rumor is why Harry was kicked out of St. Louis, right?
What?
You know why he was kicked out of St. Louis.
You're talking about when I was a broadcaster
Yes.
for the St. Louis Cardinals?
Yes.
No.
He would say Musial. That was I love.
Stan Musial.
Musial.
Stan Metamucil. That's what I call him. Stan Metamucil.
But the rumor was, and
Yeah.
a couple of times when he was drunk, I was drunk, and with Harry,
Are you accusing me of imbibing?
he banged Augie Bush's wife.
No, he didn't.
That was the rumor, and that's why he got kicked out of St. Louis.
Hey, Augie. What? Just a curiosity. I'm trying to book a time to interview you. What time you getting home tonight? Yeah. Yeah, right. Huh? You're getting home when? That's a big house you got over there, pal. Will you be going to the west wing of the house at any point? Into the maid's chambers. He fucked Augie Bush.
Of the Bush family of Budweiser, that was the rumor. That was why he got fired. He was the most popular broadcaster in St. Louis, and he was making $1 million in 1967, 68, 69, just for the spokesperson for Budweiser.
It all went to lawsuits. Yeah. Well, listen. You can't shit where you eat. That's what they tell you all the time, but I did. Oh, my. I shit right in her mouth, as a matter of fact. What was Augie Bush's lovely wife's name?
You know what? I don't remember.
Come here, baby. Augie Bush. I love it. This is, of course, before these chicks laser shave their hey on the ha-ha. I'd go down there. I'd seduce her. I'd say, hey, Mrs. Bush, guess who it is? Your dreamboat is down.
Susan.
Susan.
And they divorced in 69.
Oh, Susan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Augie Bush III.
Augie Bush III. I'll tell you, Augie, you're not getting it done. You're down there. You're trying to fix come up with new beer recipes. I'm fucking her like a Clydesdale. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Susan Bush, she had an affair with two things. She fucked me and one of the Clydesdales. That's right, I was there. It was a threesome. I had a threesome with Augie Bush's wife and one of the Christmas Budweiser Clydesdales. The other barn was on the property. And we got a little loaded. We had some Rumplemans. I think somebody, you know what I did? I drank a bunch of, remember Goldschlager? God, I used to love drinking that with the kids outside Wrigley. So me and Susie Bush, Augie's wife, we'd go bar hopping. I got a bunch of that Goldschlager with the little gold chips in it. I drank like a gallon of it. The next morning, I shit out a bracelet. And I gave it to her as a gift. Here's the Goldschlager bracelet I shit out, honey. And so, yeah, we went down. I hired a couple of the fellas. They put the Clydesdale on a crane, and they lowered his erect cock into Susie.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not simple. What are you doing? I'm supposed to take care of Susie Bush today. I'm supposed to take Susie Bush to a carnival. What are you doing? Well, I'd cancel it. She's a little sore in the vag area. What, are you fucking her again? What's going on? No. I implemented a threesome, me, her, and a Clydesdale. A horse. That's right. They love me over there. Oh, Susie. Oh, Susie. Oh, Harry,
And you know, at that time they had the Bucks were there too.
Oh, she loved a young buck. Yeah, the young buck would mate with the big buck. Hey, Jimmy the Greek, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm explaining the bucks. I heard somebody say buck. What the blacks have is they got an extra bone in the ankle. It's a true story. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I heard this too. I'm Don Zimmer. I heard this. I heard it. Yeah. That's why Kurt Flood could run those fly balls. Right now. Yeah. They had an extra bone in their ankle. Is that true, Jimmy? Yeah. They had an extra bone in their ankle. Joe Montana doesn't have one. Randall Cunningham fucking has one. You understand? I've had a couple of cocktails, but let me tell you something. They'd get the big black buck and the other big black buck, and they'd mate the bucks. That makes sense to me. You know, maybe the Goldschlager talking. Makes sense to me. Now, was this a one-off? Did he just fuck her once, supposedly? Like a Delonte West LeBron James?
I think they had an affair.
An affair?
That's the rumor. I'm
Is
sorry.
Is there any truth that the movie The Affair on Showtime is based after this?
Oh, God.
Oh, my, those were romantic days with Susie Bush. She looked, oh, my God, what did she look like? She looked like Barbara Bush's older sister. I said, Susie, my God. Susie Bush is one of those chicks, you don't need a picture of her. You just a dollar bill was fine. She looked like George Washington with a dollar bill.
Okay,
I had no pictures of her, but I had a dollar bill.
Here is the broadcast team at KMOX in 54. You had Harry Caray.
1954.
Milo Hamilton.
Oh, I love Milo.
Joe Garagiola.
Oh, that wop.
And Jack Buck.
Oh, he's one of the bucks that would meet. Jack Buck loved black pussy. I know his son Joe doesn't want to hear this. But everyone, when Joe was going to be born, we were all crossing our fingers. He could have easily come out, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Mighty Joe Young Buck. Joe Buck. Yeah. Jack Buck loved him.
I'm just going to delete his number from my phone right now.
Who?
Joe Buck.
Oh, stop. Joe loves it. Joe's got one of the best senses of humor.
He does. That's the most
I'll
amazing
tell you.
thing.
Well, this is Jack Buck. I'll tell you what, I loved black pussy back in the day. This is Jack. Fly ball Larkin fucked a chick who looked like him in a wig last night. Bonds is there. He's got it. That's the way this one starts. Tell me to give me the lineup. Tonight on him doing the CBS. Tonight on CBS. House of Boogan or something. House of Boogie. Boogie House starring Spanish guy. Look it up. Local news, I don't know, something. 60 Minutes has a report tonight about Caray having sex with Woogie Bush's wife. I don't believe it. I can do them all from 1954. That fills up the O2 Arena on tour. Well, this certainly is some news, Dan. Once again, you've crystallized the thoughts of the audience, wanting news, craving the news. Listens in the audience listens in to this show for modern current event news. Dan giving the 1954 broadcast booth for St. Louis. Again, great Jack Buck story. I think I've told it before. When he was doing Cardinal games, I forget the other broadcaster who was in the booth, but he tells this story. Not a well-known guy. I guess it was in the 60s.
Was it Mike Shannon?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not really important, but the guy tells a story. It's amazing. A local cheesecake not like the restaurant, a place that made cheesecakes, a big bakery in town, but big in St. Louis, not just a small town, big in that area. They would buy ad time. Once a month, they would elect a Miss Cheesecake. That's what they'd call her. And they put a big sash on her, like a beauty pageant thing, and it said Miss Cheesecake. And she would bring a big actual cheesecake into the booth, and Jack and the other guy would enjoy it and talk about how good it was while they were doing the game. So this really hot Miss Cheesecake comes in and introduces the cake, plugs it, and puts the cheesecake down and leaves. As soon as she leaves, the cheesecake is right in front of Jack Buck, and he's doing the game, so his head is on doing the game. He's not listening. So the cheesecake is there. She leaves, and the other announcer, we'll call him Mike Shannon, says to Jack, "Boy, that Miss Cheesecake is something." Jack Buck mishears him and thinks he's talking about the cake that's in front of him. And he goes, "Yeah, that Miss Cheesecake is something." And Jack Buck on the air goes, "Yeah, I'd like a piece of that right now." All creepy with that voice. "Yeah, that Miss Cheesecake's something. Yeah, I'd like a piece of that right now." A 2-2 pitch to flood. Gibson to the belt. Again, worst thing that came out of that Joe Buck appearance is people thought I was making fun of Jack fucking Buck. Never. I love his son and I love Jack Buck. At the time, I applaud CBS for putting older guys on the air as late as 1992 because that's how I got to know him. CBS had baseball for a while. They had the playoffs, and they let Jack Buck do the games. And it was the years the Barry Bonds Pirates when Barry Bonds looked human. Jesus, the difference is unbelievable. I mean, who did anyone guess? The guy looked like fucking Urkel. Guy looks like Urkel. Comes back. He's got a. When you gain 40 pounds over the offseason, no big deal. But if it's in your forehead, it raises eyebrows. Oh, look at that colored drill about. I knew his father. He's put out a lot of weight in that eyebrow section.
And Harry would end every night that he would go out drinking on Rush Street with a banana daiquiri. He would either go to the Lodge or Pippin's.
That's because I like black chicks. I'd lure them over with a banana daiquiri. Hey, honey, you want a banana daiquiri? What the hell are you talking about banana daiquiri? Don Zimmer. Don Zimmer. Don, we haven't won the World Series for the 103rd straight year. Yeah, I don't know. Room for improvement. I got to go take a shit in the shower. What? Well, yeah, well, the team plays lousy. I shit in the shower. Take a big dump. I live a big Don Zimmer shit right in the shower. And I got, what? Who cleans that up? I don't know, the Mexican or something. Got a Mexican guy who cleans it up. Don Zimmer. I got to go to see Jeter's wife. Jeter wants me to take her. I don't know. She got to go. I don't know. Live taping of the talk.
In 1984, the Cubs went to the playoffs, and we all went to San Diego for the playoffs. And Steve and Gary, the two guys I work for, Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer, we did the show out there.
Do you have any interesting stories?
And the Cubs had a ball girl. Her name was Marla Collins.
I'd like a piece of that right now.
And so we got to interview.
Call back.
We were doing the show by the pool at the San Diego Hilton.
The what?
The pool.
Oh, I love it.
Outside. And we interviewed Marla.
Marla
and Collins, the ball girl.
She was the ball girl?
She was the ball girl at Wrigley Field.
Oh, for real.
And the Cubs brought her along for good luck.
Yeah.
And we thought that she was going to stay after the show and have a few drinks with the three of us.
Yeah. Wow.
And right before the show ended, Harry Caray came by with Jim Fry.
Yeah.
And,
who was a manager, of the Cubs that nobody knows. Go ahead.
And about 20 minutes later, we saw Marla going into Harry's room with Jim Fry, the three of them.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Dial back. What three were originally there? You, Harry, and who?
It was me, Steve Dahl, and Gary Meyer.
Okay. Steve Dahl, the big...
yes.
So you wanted to try to... All three wanted to try to fuck her?
No, we were just going to have... She said, do you guys want to... Are you guys almost done? And it was close to 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock...
was she of age? What?
No, yes.
Well, yes. Don't be so surprised.
She was 25.
I believe you, but ball girls, Dan, sometimes they're young. Ball boys.
This was Marla Collins. I'll take a picture.
Did you take the ball boy out?
No.
I remember
1984.
I remember her, yeah. So you wanted to fuck her?
No.
Would you have been in the threesome?
No. Probably not.
Be terrible in a threesome. I don't know what to do here. Where do I put my... What do I do with this? Jim Fry was a cherub-looking, middle-aged guy with glasses. What are you talking about? So you're saying... Wait a minute. So you're saying she fucked Fry?
I saw her go into their room, into Harry's room, because Harry was across.
Harry, Caray, just two, Caray and Fry.
Fry and Marla Collins.
Hey, hey, Marla, how'd you like to wear some thick black-rimmed glasses around your twat? It's threesome time. Come on, Marla, get in here. You want a couple of balls to handle? And we got 4 of them out here. Well, Jim had one removed, I guess. I can't imagine a least sexy. Like, you just showed me a really cute girl, like from the 80s. She had that feathered back Farrah Fawcett thing going on, you know. Young, happy girl. I mean, what did that do to her life? The memory of seeing those two naked. The memory. What if their cocks accidentally touched?
Oh.
Hey, Jimmy, I warned you about this. We got to work out the choreography a little bit better. We're playing Human Twister with the ball gal. Who was the other one? You would have been in the threesome?
She was our last interview of the day. And we were going to see if she wanted to go out for a drink. And she was, I'll go out with you guys for a drink.
Who asked her?
I think Steve did. I'm not sure.
Steve Dahl?
It was on the air, so it wasn't like it was, some sinister.
Oh, it's different then.
But then,
it's not sinister to ask a chick out to a date. There.
Harry came by the last 5 minutes, and then Marla disappeared with Harry and Jim Fry, and I had packed up the equipment.
So he cockblocked you.
And Gary was walking back with me, and Gary and we were going to drop off the equipment, and I go, Gary,
I'll drop off my equipment. I'll drop it off in Marla. Sammy Sosa. Yeah. Well, a lot of crazy shit happens, man. 162 fucking game season, man. Long time.
Well, let's see if this works on.
Hey, we see Marlon Collins without sharks for the first time.
Oh, that's Harry Caray. Oh, wait, set it up. So, wait a minute. Stop. Wait a minute. Okay, set it up. So Harry Caray thinks she fucked Jim Fry, or you think they fucked all three. So she sees now the next day he sees Marlon and he starts laughing, and you think it's because he fucked her. You think?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, you think? You know,
I think
say
so.
you think.
I think something happened in that room. Yeah.
Well, it might be that she was raped.
No.
I mean, Dan, first of all, it's very odd. You showed me a very cute, vibrant young girl. It was 30 years ago. I don't know what she looks like. Probably looks like you now. But Harry looked like, again, to quote Woody Allen in Broadway Danny Rose, something you might find in a live bait show. And Jim Fry looked the same. They're older. They're not this, what? We'll talk about a psychological problem. Not one, two. So this is him laughing about fucking her?
No. This is no. This
What?
is
What? No.
This
What are you
is
doing?
Harry during a game.
Yeah.
And Marla came out. It was a warm day, and she, for the first month of the year, she
Yeah.
wore long pants.
Right.
And then he said, then Harry says this.
Hey, we see Marlon Collins without sharks for the first time.
Boy, I hope we get the end of that story.
Slow roller, he might beat it out.
Nope. Good play.
Wait, stop it. Again, you got to be the worst storyteller of all time. So okay.
This is
So
not the
she's
next
wearing
day.
shorts.
This is just a
not
clip.
the next. So what do you got, Dan?
You were in the middle of your Harry Caray. I knew.
So what? You just ruined it.
I was the producer for this
First of all,
clip.
first of all, the first bit I had going on was going, well, you just interrupt. Do you feel it necessary to interrupt?
I thought I would add
Don't
some
get all
sound.
fucking on your high horse because Twitter thinks it's fun bantering. You just all of a sudden you just ruined the bit without you crowbar in the story. I was having fun riffing, and all you hear is this. So anyway, I bought a pair of shorts in 1986. So again, there's not a person out there, Dan, who wouldn't think this tape you're playing is linked to Jim Fry fucking, possibly fucking. So this is a non sequitur. Because I was going to say, wait a minute, maybe Harry Caray's laughing at the fact that her shorts got soiled or something, right? But no, you're just playing a random tape. Mm-hmm. So why do you think Harry Caray's laughing? Because he's drunk.
Well, saying without shorts is kind of funny. It's like you see her
without shots. He said shots, by the way. Did you hear him say shorts? Play it again. He said shots. It's weird.
Hold on. Put it back.
Hey, we see Marlon Collins without sharks for the first time.
Sharks, he said. He might have said sharks. Listen to how drunk he is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, listen. In New York, we used to laugh at Phil Rizzuto. I'm not going to battle with that. Wait a minute. We used to laugh at Phil Rizzuto for always making mistakes. But we were missing out on the most fun ever. Harry, he's loaded.
He had a refrigerator underneath the counter with old style in there during the game.
Fucking out of his mind.
And there was the clubhouse kid who used to fill the refrigerator with beer.
He is just out of his mind drunk. You listen to him making himself laugh. He doesn't know what he even meant.
He was amazing to work with.
Well,
man.
sometimes when you're laughing,
yeah.
Dude, that's not only drunk. He might have a little bit of the icky wicky. He might have smoked some Mother Earth. Hey, him and his pot dealer. Hey, it's Client H. Yeah. Well, I want some of the icky sticky. Yeah. We're playing. Okay, I got the code here. Wait a minute. I got the code for my weed dealer. We're playing Philly, and I don't mean to be blunt, but I'd like to meet you later. Yeah? 10-4? Is that a 10-4, good buddy? It's a colored fellow sells me the icky sticky. Yeah. I love this guy. I love him. Actually, it's Ernie Banks' brother. Icky Sticky Banks. Hey, Yeah. Yeah, but you know, is this Ernie Banks' brother? Ernie gave me your number, said you could, I don't know, enhance my drinking experience. He gave me this. Yeah, we're in Philly. Can I be blunt? Do you know what that means? Yeah. All right. We'd like Artie Banks' brother. He was a great sense of humor. I'd say, let me get one lid. He'd go, why don't you smoke two? It's a nice day. Why don't you smoke two? That's what. And we'd laugh about it. I'll tell you what. This is my anti-racism. This is my anti-racism public service now. I used to buy marijuana. Mara James from this colored fellow, whose brother happened to be one of my favorite people of all time, Ernie Banks. And he did hit a lot of home runs. I'm starting to think Jimmy the Greek was right with the bone thing. But I'll tell you what. It has got nothing to do with your intellect. And Ernie Banks' brother was the smartest weed dealer I ever knew. It's got nothing to do with a bone in your ankle. It's just good business work. And I'd say, listen, he would make me laugh because he'd do his quotes from his brother. I'd say, I want one joint. He goes, why not smoke two? It's a nice day. And we'd laugh about it. Every once in a while, he'd overhear me say the N-word. And I'd say, we had good relations. Because you know why? The blacks back then had a sense of humor. They did. They just did. Some of these fellas, these misguided kids out there in Ferguson. Yeah. I don't understand. You got to get together. The Beatles sang it. Everybody get together. Yeah. He would get this amazing, he called it the chronic. And I'd go and get the chronic from, his name, we had a nickname, it was Gummo Banks. Kind of like a Cooper Manning complex. Ernie, years later, and I felt very bad about this. I misspoke. I had the old style, and he gave me some of that. This shit was orange, some of it. When he would go to California with us sometimes, I'd say, hey, Gummo Bag, you got any of the Icky Sticky for old Daddy Waddy? You got any of the Icky Sticky for Harry Caray? And he'd go, yeah, we're in L.A. I got a contact down here. He'd get me, this shit was orange. I was picking out the primo seeds, finishing out the lid. And I smoking. I was gone, and I did. I misspoke, and I've apologized for this a million times. And Ernie and I was talking, and I was complimenting his brother. I said, my God, what a drug dealer your brother is. He's one of the best. Matter of fact, he's a better drug dealer than you were a ball player. And then we laughed about it, because I told him about the Let's Smoke 2 thing. And, because Harry, for you young kids out there, Ernie, they'd say, it's a nice day, and he'd say, let's play two. And a lot of us would go, sit down, asshole. I got drinking to do. Of course we were kidding. But I said to him, Ernie said to me, and I thought he was kidding, and I did. I misspoke here. He said to me, well, you think he's got good weed? You should get my father's weed. My father's got amazing weed. Did you ever think that, maybe my father? And I said, well, I just assume you guys didn't know your father. And then I was kidding. Me and Fry would laugh our ass off of that. And then Ernie Banks said, what does that mean? I said, I'm kidding around. What? Hey, I know your father. Your community with the, And it was a very awkward side. He didn't talk to me for 5 years. And he cut me off with Gummo. I couldn't get into the icky. I couldn't get the icky again. I had to go into the Chicago blues and jazz community. And I'll tell you what. By the way, inning 3 here. We'll get back to the game. I'll tell you, what happened was very simple. Leon Durham hooked me up with a guy who, he got some good stuff as well, but very expensive. And the thing about Banks, he respected the Cub organization. And I'd say, hey, I need the icky. And he would go, hey, you're Harry Caray, you're a legend, you can have it. You can have it, because I'll tell you what, I went through it quickly. Gummo would say, what are you doing with this shit? You're fucking smoking this as quick as I can grow it back here. And he goes, Truth be told, cat's out of the bag now. You don't smoke that shit like crazy, Susie Bush. That's how I fucked her a lot. I'd say, because she was sick of beer, you know. Nothing but beer. You know, Augie Bush, a goddamn beer. You shove beer down your throat. That's what you do with broads. You just fucking lace them with beer. And before you know it, it was in the bedroom. So she went to the weed later on in life. So I'd get her this amazing weed, and guess what? She'd smoke the weed, and then she'd smoke my fucking brand, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Wow. So try the non-filtered. I got a circumcision, and I said that's non-filtered. We had a joke about that. But, I was very witty back then. I stole a lot of my material from some of the ball players. Mark Grace was very funny. I only saw Mark naked once. But I tell you, the people uptight now. So I did Bernie. This was right around the movement there with that Michael King guy, Michael Laredo King, and I was for it. I said I heard Michael King. I'm for it. I'd march with him, but I can't really stand. I'm for the equality, and but he didn't care about it. I said to I assume you guys didn't know your father. Very, very awkward. Very awkward. So we was wondering, but after that, after about 5 years, we loosened up and we all got together. And Gummo wrote over some of the pre-moves. Gummo Banks. He wasn't his real name. But Marx Brothers, Gummo Marx. You know the fucking gist. Yeah. So I loved it. I loved the Chronic. I used to smoke that with Old Style up in the Steve Stone days. I tell you what, Steve Stone had something stiff up his ass, man. It was all real strict in the booth for Stevie Stone. Here's a pitch to Alex. Right on the left. Shut up. You're so chatty. It's America's game. They know what the fuck's going on. What I do is I just every at bat I just go, here's Rod Sandberg, and then I just, even though it's the radio, I just don't talk. That's what I. And then as soon as he hits the ball, I go, Rollo. And in between, it's usually 4 Old Styles and a couple of tokes on the old Banks tree. Yeah. So anyway, a lot of anecdotes. From back in the day. But the best anecdote has got to be Jim Fry banging that bald girl. Did that chick have like a boyfriend or something? What was her deal?
She was single at the time. I know.
So wait a minute. So get this straight. You totally, educated guess, you totally believe this chick fucked either Jim Fry or Harry Caray?
Yes. The three of us.
Wait, or both of them? At once?
Steve, Gary, and
myself. At once?
We talked about it after the...
Who's we?
Steve, Gary, and I. We talked about it.
On the air?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And
so wait, you guys were a huge show. How did this get back to that? Well, this wasn't a big controversy.
Oh yeah, it made the paper.
What about Harry's wife?
Hey, Dutchie's a fine woman.
Dutchie's touchy. That's what I was said.
He could have said that they were just going in there for a drink.
Oh yeah, she'll buy that one. Yeah, she'll buy that one.
Jim Fry with his big glasses.
What else was big on Jimmy Fry? I'll tell you one thing.
Where was he with the Royals, right?
He was a Royal too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, there's a rumor. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, she was going to Royals game and tried to bit that bold girl. And the rumor is the Pine Tar game with Brett. It was that's how far it went up that chick's ass. That's why I was lying with him. The chick had pine tar ass, we called it, PTA. You know, we made up a lot of jokes back then. You got to kill time in baseball. You do. And it's not all shits and giggles.
A lot of rain delays.
Not like now, you go on the computer and you download, you upload. Come on, it's all loading. And then, what are you watching? Some bullshit. Some liberal bullshit out of Hollywood. This fucker with the terrorists now. I'll tell you, I'm glad I'm back for this one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd fucking give it to him. I'd give it to him high and hard. I'd give her the old Susie Bush. I'd get this fuckers. I get these ISIS guys, and I'd say, first of all, guys, get me some ISIS. Make yourself useful. Let's get some shaved ISIS. That's the thing. They all have beards. Ironically enough, who doesn't like shaved ISIS? I like shaved ISIS. Yeah. Let's play it too. Well, I'll tell you what. This little walk down memory lane. A lot of very, very crazy accusations. Not accusations. Can you believe it? Jim Fry stuck the one-eyed wonder worm in this ball girl. Well, she disappeared, though. Was there psychological problems? Could you imagine waking up if she's clearly, I mean, I don't know this for sure. Obviously, I don't want a lawsuit, but she might have been smoking PCP. Angel dove.
And, of course, the Cubs lost that series of fucking San Diego.
Of course they did.
Steve Garvey, that
Oh, yeah. I have
douche.
fucking pretty boy asswipe.
God, I hate that.
Pretty boy asswipe. Pitched that homer opposite field, got that arm up.
Ugh.
Dan, you have arms like that hairy, that terrible Steve Garvey arm.
Do I?
But no muscle definitely. Well, yeah, he had real hairy arms, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the hair on Dan's arm. My God, it's gross. I see that. That's how I lose weight. I picture one of those hairs in my omelet.
Every time I hear the two words San Diego, I get sick to my stomach.
Okay, here's another non sequitur by Dan Filato. This segment, this what the fuck did Dan just say segment?
1984, we were up 2-0.
All right, yeah. Okay, I'll paint the picture. The oldest guy listening to this fucking thing is Rod from Bayside. I'll tell you that Rod from Bayside. Yeah, I like the kid. The last funny phone call might have been the funniest ever, but I think I don't know. I think he's one of these guys that can focus on one thing. The rest of his life, he's a bit of a fucker. But I love him a lot. Love the guy. So give us the non sequitur San Diego story.
I just, we were up 2-0.
Okay, but I'll explain everything Dan said. The Cubs in the playoffs.
Well, I explained that already.
No,
I said in 1984 we went to the
Not really.
playoffs.
I went to did you go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting? Harry Caray did. That's me in the third person. Yeah, right. This sentence never came out of your mouth. Cubs in the playoffs had a great year. They're playing the San Diego Padres and back then there was no division series to go to the World Series. It's the playoffs for the pennant. They're playing the Padres out of the West, and they're up 2-0. Rick Sutcliffe had a great game, pitched a great game, and home run Wrigley Field. So now it's 2-0. They go to San Diego.
Yep.
What happens?
And we lost 3-0.
Wait. There's no story?
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I can't even.
What? What's the story?
The story? No, we lost 3 in a row. I get sick.
There's no story?
No.
Dan, you made it sound like San Diego was a story. That's why I just set it up.
I get sick every time I hear the word San Diego.
I thought something happened. We were talking about sex, Harry. I thought we was going to have a story. The story is we lost.
Okay, well, I know. I do. Actually, I do have a story.
No crowbar in a story.
I do have a story.
Dan, the stories you plan that you think are funny suck. The crowbar story. Okay, go ahead. I have to hear it.
The Cubs had an off day. They lost. They lost.
Okay. It comes out an off day.
They won a game.
Yeah,
they won the first 2.
Why don't we win 2?
Then we lost 1,
yeah.
And then we had the off day on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
You did.
And then we were with a bunch of the players at the San Diego Hilton, and a couple of them came over, and we started drinking tequila, and started to circle the hot tub with tequila.
With?
It was Rick Sutcliffe, Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer.
So there's one.
Joe Girardi. Not Joe Girardi. The catcher. There's Keith Moreland, and the catcher was Jody Davis.
Yeah.
And we were circling the hot tub with tequila shots. And
What was that? What?
We were circling the hot tub.
What do you mean?
They had a pool, and then they had a hot tub.
You're sitting in the hot tub?
I was in the pool area.
No, you're in the hot tub.
I was in the pool
with Keith Moore.
I don't like too hot of water. I'm not a big hot water.
Why is that?
I just don't like hot water.
Well, you're in hot water now. What? I can't. Why?
I'm just not a big hot water. Like it's scalding hot water. I don't like it.
No one likes scalding hot water.
I can't sit in the.
How do you think you take a shower in cold water?
No, I don't.
So you like hot water? It's not refreshing to you to sit in that, the initial when you sit, the water being warm?
I'm not a big hot water guy.
Okay. What the another there's got to be something creepy behind that.
No, there's not. And
it was the first time you were the man was in the tub, hot tub.
And so Sutcliffe said, Sutcliffe played with the Dodgers, and he said, "Let's go have some fun." Let's go have some fun.
What was that?
So he said, "Let's drive down to Mexico and see a donkey show."
Right.
And so Steve and I.
Did you get out of the hot tub? Or you're not in the hot tub?
Yeah, I was in the pool. So Steve and I and Sutcliffe and I can't remember who the other player was. The other player was a Dodger that played with Sut at the Dodgers, and Sut goes. We drove down to Tijuana.
Sut? You call him Sut?
I call him Sut.
You don't call him Sut.
I do call him Sut.
If Rick Sut the fuck in here, he would not know who you are.
Oh, bullshit!
No way.
Yeah.
And you'd say Sut, he'd go, "Yeah, if you're arrested."
That's right. That's what I
Get him out of here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we drove down
clearly
to
know
Tijuana.
Yeah.
And Steve was drunk. He was really drunk.
Absolutely.
And Sut turned us around and said, "Listen, we got to go in here." And I didn't know what a donkey show was. I was only 21 or 22 at the time, so I didn't know what a donkey show was. So we went in the tent.
Explain
and
what it is. There's a lot of young
a
people.
donkey
Explain what
show.
a donkey show is.
A donkey show is where a donkey fucks a woman.
Right. It's not actually deep. That's exactly what it is.
And so Sut turned around and said to Steve and the other player, "Listen, I'm not supposed to be here. Let's all be cool." And we walk into
said that?
Sut said that to Steve, and
Rick Sutcliffe
That's
said
right.
that to Steve.
That's right.
Steve who?
Dahl.
Dahl is a disc jockey.
Disc jockey, right.
Okay, you gotta tell a story like these kids were born. Yeah.
And we walked into the tent and sat down, and we heard a bunch of Spanish.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, like a spotlight came on us, and you hear, blah, 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 "Rick Sutcliffe!"
No.
And the spotlight went on, and he goes, "I gotta go."
No.
And he
Wait a minute.
He blew out of the tent.
Wait,
The announcer recognized him, the Spanish
and they
announcer.
just, that is, wait a minute. So without,
We didn't even see the show. I never saw the show.
there's no way that's true.
That's a true
Because
story.
There's no way.
That's a true story.
A manager of the
Someone in
they-
Chicago
they-
will
they-
play.
Dan,
We'll have the
Dan,
tape of
okay,
Dahl
listen,
talking about it on the
They
air.
fucking have rules at those places. They want celebrities to go. They're not going to. They would never announce a celebrity.
They announced it. You heard a bunch of Spanish, and then Rick Sutcliffe.
Right. Okay. Really?
And then we blew out of there
Well, why?
because he didn't want to. He wasn't supposed to be there. And then, of course, the
Let
Cubs
me just
lost.
ask you. I believe the story, but let me just ask you logically: if you owned a donkey, if you ran a donkey show, okay, and a big celebrity came in, and you want to cater to him, a lot of money, it's a criminal activity. And they don't want people telling the story anyway. They want to everything's. In other words, the whole thing about criminal activity is down low. It's not, Siegfried
But
and Roy.
isn't that kind of a thing in Mexico? A donkey show? Isn't
It's
that kind
illegal. What do you think? It's very illegal. You can't fuck a donkey.
in Mexico?
What do you mean in Mexico? Yeah, what is Mexico? A fucking third
Well,
world?
there was. I mean, it was like it wasn't like it was hidden or anything. It was a off.
Dad, there's the nefarious things all over the place. Crooked cops look the other way, but the point is, the cops go, "We'll take the money." You got to keep shit low. You don't announce Rick Sutcliffe there.
Well, they announced Rick Sutcliffe.
Because okay. All right. Well, listen.
Some Steve and Gary listener in Chicago
Doesn't mean
called our
Steve
line.
Dahl said doesn't mean it's true.
Well, we could be sued if it wasn't true.
By who?
Sutcliffe. I can't remember who the other Dodger player was, but it wasn't Monday. It wasn't. It was not a big.
Manic Monday. I wish it was Rick Monday. Well,
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. By
that's
the way.
right. Okay, we're gonna stop. Okay, I teased the voice. Okay, listen, it's a good tease for Monday. These voicemails we have are incredible. I'm glad I was in the kitchen when Dan was reviewing them. Otherwise, he probably never would have told me about them. Dan was listening to them like it was an album or something. Like he wasn't a producer of the show. He goes, "Dad, we got some great. Oh, there's some funny stuff over here." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's the show. It's our show. We need them." There's a maniac in Philadelphia who leaves voicemails. You want to tease it? We'll tease it with one of them. We're going to play a bunch of these on Monday, but let's tease with one of them. This is how they said to do it at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Okay, why don't you now? Are we going to play the Tupac Biggie guy after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? Who cares?
Well, coming up.
Dan's Mr. Fisher over there.
All right, I got it.
Yeah, coming up is wait, I'll do it. I got to do two things. I got to do the Murder She Wrote. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do the murder. No, can you tag Murder She Wrote at the end of?
Yes, we can.
You know what though? It's not. I want it to be the last thing I say, so I'm not gonna fuck you guys over because we did that. I can't do Murder She Wrote because of a logistic thing till Monday. So we'll do Murder She Wrote Monday. At the end of Monday's show, as Pat Summerall, I'll say murder, and then at the beginning of Tuesday's show, I'll say She Wrote, as an homage to that pause, and we will play a bunch of voicemails by this maniac in Philadelphia. You're about to hear one of them. Dan's gonna play one as a tease. And listen, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Guys, I'm telling you. I started this podcast not knowing if it'd be embraced, and it's been embraced. People love the show. You really are nice on the Twitter, man. Very passionate about it. 4 days a week is a lot, by the way, guys. Not a lot of people do a podcast 4 days a week, and I love doing it. The shows, obviously we're hitting a groove here, I think, and the shows are at least a couple hours lately. And we promise you an hour. Hour stuff, at least for hour to 90 minutes, at least 4 days a week, and it varies, but usually it's longer now, and we got a little family, guests who call in, and the equipment. And Dan still hasn't found an apartment. But I'll tell you, Dan and I have a blast doing it. And the people that like it, when they talk about it, they're very passionate. I'm proud of that. And stuff is, they say in the African-American community, is blowing up. Yeah, I just don't think, you know your dad. So it's happy Thanksgiving is my point. We'll be back on Monday. Happy fucking Thanksgiving. You guys are the greatest fans in the world. I love you all. Go to ArtieQuitter.com. Tell all your friends to go to ArtieQuitter.com for all things Artie. This Saturday night, I'll be at the Valley Forge Casino. Some say it's sold out. Some extra tickets might be available. But it's pretty much sold out. And I thank you to Philly. Valley Forge Casino in King of Prussia. I'm there Saturday night. We're going to have fun there. Big show. A lot of shows coming up. December 26th, I'm at Foxwoods in Connecticut. December 27th, I am at the Wilbur Theater in Boston, a favorite of mine. December 1st, I'm at the Brooklyn Academy of Music with Harry Caray, Harry Shearer, and his wife Judith. And I'm on the program. They're doing Christmas carols for charity. Check my website. It's unbelievable. And anything with Harry Shearer and Judith, I get to work with Harry, genius. So I'm there. Another December day. December the 3rd, I'm hosting Access Gotham live on Access TV on Mark Cuban's channel. God, I'm busy. December 3rd, I've done this before. I'm either host or I'm doing one of the sets, but I'm doing stand-up. Gotham Live on Access TV. Mark Cuban, a good guy. Did it last time. He was good to me. Came on the show, and maybe we'll get him back on after I do this. So look for me live on live TV doing stand-up December 3rd, and then more stuff coming up. And a real exciting thing. It looks like I'm going to have an announcement about a third book deal, by the way. Me and Anthony Bozo can say something official, I believe, sometime after the holiday. Anthony Bozo wrote the first two books of mine, both bestsellers, one number one. Too Fat to Fish and Crash and Burn. Anthony and I are very prolific. We probably have a third book deal. More on that. I'll tell you what the book is. It's going to be fun. It might be out for Father's Day or next Christmas. And the big exciting news, though, is I finished this HBO pilot. A lot of you guys know I booked an HBO pilot, a series, where I basically play myself. It's about the New York stand-up comedy scene and around the Comedy Cellar and the Village Underground, which has become the hottest places on earth. My God, the broads there. You do stand-up there, and it's like shooting fish in a barrel, as they say how they marry. But no, it's about that. And I played a guy based on myself, and now it's become me. The name of the pilot episode is Artie Lang. It's very flattering. I got the second biggest role in it, besides the star. The star's a guy named Pete Holmes, another comic, younger guy. It's his life story. Pete's amazing in this. And I just finished the pilot. I shot for 5 days, 5 long days in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And all the scenes were with Pete mostly, and he crashes in my apartment at the end of it, and that's hence the show. His name is Crashing, and I had a blast doing it, man. It was fun filming a TV show again. This is HBO, and the thing I'm saving for the last, it's directed and produced by a guy named Judd Apatow. Google that, fuckers. Judd Apatow is arguably the closest thing this generation will have to a Woody Allen. I mean, if you look at his career, very prolific, successful, really talented fucking guy. Started writing on the Larry Sanders Show with Gary Shandling. It's among comics. That's a brilliant fucking show. He was running that show. famously created a couple of TV shows that were huge cult hits that didn't go anywhere, as far as longevity, but they were amazingly funny. Freaks and Geeks, Undeclared, and that got him a name with Larry Sanders Show. He starts doing this, that, the other thing, gets into movies and blah, blah, blah. 40-Year-Old Virgin, Anchorman, Bridesmaids. You can list them forever and ever. Knocked Up. The guy's something else, man.
Superbad.
Superbad, another one. A producer or director. And Pete got a meeting with him and pitched this to him, and Judge Showgirls on HBO is a big hit, and now he's got this one. It'll probably get picked up. I'm my fingers crossed being there for the shoot the whole time. It's good. It's funny. A lot of improvisation. I had a blast with him. Apatow he's so successful, he could very easily be intimidating. And he's not. It's like just being with a guy you went to high school with. And it was fun to work with a director on that caliber. So I had a blast, and the pilot is finished. We got done, and it's exciting. So I'll let you know more about that. So thank you to Pete Holmes. Thank you to Judd Apatow. Thank you to HBO for giving me that shot. So I got a lot going on, guys, and it's a happy Thanksgiving for me. Dan, thanks for all your help, buddy.
Thank you.
It's good man.
A blast.
Flippin', love you. Gino Biscotti, Chris Cotton, all the people that have been involved with this podcast.
Ryan Reese.
Ryan Reese now. Sue Costello, a bunch of people that have been involved, all the comedians that have helped me out, and the regular callers. And thanks for making the first 11 months great. We hit a year in a month, and a lot of exciting things going on with the podcast, too. I got a new agency, UTA. They're a pretty big deal. Rick Dorfman, my amazing manager, putting together a possible TV component to this podcast. The only issue in the deal is I refuse to leave my kitchen. So the lawyers are working that out. And that's it. So that was a little long-winded, but I had a bunch of stuff to say. I've had this was the busiest November in the history of my career. Wow. But I got through it. Everything went well. Bunch of stuff coming up that I taped to Ari Shafir's show. It's happening now about This Isn't Happening. I told a story with a bunch of comics out in L.A. at Cheetahs when I did Conan. That went great. That's coming out. The Showtime special I did in Montreal that I hosted and headlined, that's still coming out. That came out great. Crashing on HBO. What can I tell you? And more of this podcast. We love doing it for you. We'll continue. All right? The Murder, She Wrote thing and voicemails like this one you're about to hear coming up Monday. I love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Brush your hair. This voicemail is a tease as what you're going to hear. You're going to hear about another 20 of them Monday. Love you.
Yo, so when a black guy tries to stick you up, this is how you do. Oh, my nigga, 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 my nigga. Whoa, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga. Hey, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga.